The ancient seekers were not looking for 1,000 different answers, but for the one truth that would dissolve all questions. They understood a secret that has been buried under the noise of our modern world. A truth so simple, it is easily missed in the frantic search for complexity. And perhaps you feel it too, a deep and quiet calling beneath the surface of your daily life, a sense of exhaustion, a weariness, not just of the body, but of the soul. The constant grinding effort to be better, to be more, to fix what you believe is broken, to finally arrive at a version of yourself that you believe is worthy of peace. You have been told to build, to achieve, to climb. You have been given maps with countless destinations, each promising a happiness that seems to recede the closer you get. But what if the journey was never about addition? What if it was about subtraction? What if true freedom is not found in becoming someone new, but in remembering who you were before the world told you who you should be? This is an invitation to a different kind of journey, not outward, into the world of doing, but inward, into the universe of being. We will not be gathering new information. We will be shedding old illusions. This is not a lecture to be learned, but an experience to be felt, a space to simply be. There is no destination at the end of this path, because the peace you seek is not waiting for you in the future. It is here, now, woven into the very fabric of this present moment. It is in the silence between these words. It is in the gentle rise and fall of your own breath. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You only need to be still and to listen. Let us begin the sacred art of remembering. Let us walk the path back to the one, simple, liberating truth that has been waiting for you patiently inside the quiet sanctuary of your own heart. Before we take another step, I want you to simply listen, not just to my voice, but to the soundscape behind it. Listen to the room you are in, the distant hum of the world outside, the subtle rhythm of your own body. And now, turn your attention inward. Listen there. What do you hear? For most, it is not silence. It is a noise, a great, persistent, overwhelming noise. This is the first thing we must face, together, not with judgment, not with a desire to crush it into submission, but with a quiet, courageous curiosity. We must get to know the texture and the tone of this noise, because it has been the soundtrack to your life for so long that you have mistaken it for your own voice. This great noise has two layers, like an orchestra playing two different songs at once, creating a chaotic dissonance. The outer layer is obvious. It is the screaming of the world, the endless pings of notifications on your phone, each one a tiny, urgent demand for your attention. The 24-hour news cycle, a fire hose of fear, outrage, and disaster, designed to keep you hooked, to keep you agitated. It is the cacophony of opinions on social media, a billion voices shouting to be heard, judging, comparing, and posturing. It is the expectations of your family, your boss, your friends, all of them projecting their needs, their desires, their definitions of success onto you. This external noise is relentless. It is a siege on your senses, a constant pulling of your awareness away from your center, scattering your energy to the four winds until you feel thin, transparent, and utterly exhausted. You have been taught to navigate this noise, to respond to it, to manage it, but you have not been taught that you have the right to turn it off, to claim sanctuary from the storm. But the true challenge, the deeper work, lies with the second layer of noise, the internal noise. Because the external world is so loud, its vibrations have seeped through your skin and taken root inside you. The chaos is no longer just outside. It has become the very weather of your mind. Your mind, in its natural state, is a vast, clear, open sky. But for now, it has become a chaotic marketplace, a bazaar that never closes. Let's walk through it, you and I. Let's just observe. Look there. In that corner is the stall of past regrets. The merchant here is a hunched figure, endlessly replaying old films on a dusty projector. You see your mistakes, your failures, the words you wish you had said, the actions you wish you had taken. You see the faces of people you hurt or who hurt you. This merchant whispers in your ear, selling you guilt and shame by the pound. He convinces you that who you were yesterday is who you must be forever. And you stand there, mesmerized by the flickering images, buying his wares, carrying the heavy weight of a past that no longer exists anywhere but in this corner of your mind. Now, turn your attention across the aisle. This is the stall of future anxieties. It is bright, loud, and sells only one product: catastrophic what-ifs. The merchant is a frantic, fast-talking salesman who paints vivid pictures of everything that could go wrong. The loss of a job, the failure of a relationship, the onset of illness, the judgment of others. He shows you 1,000 potential futures, and every single one is a variation of pain and disaster. His voice is so convincing, so urgent, that your body reacts as if these events are happening right now. Your heart beats faster, your palms sweat, your stomach tightens. You are living in a state of emergency for a future that has not happened, and likely never will. You are paying for suffering in advance with the precious currency of your present moment peace. And right in the center of the marketplace, on a raised platform, is the stall of unending judgments. The auctioneer here is the loudest of all. This is the voice of your inner critic. With a gavel in hand, it shouts out your flaws, your inadequacies, your every perceived imperfection. It compares you to everyone else in the market, always finding you lacking. You are not smart enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough, not spiritual enough. It judges others just as harshly, creating a world of separation, of us versus them. This voice feels authoritative. It feels like the truth. It has been with you for so long. You believe it is the voice of reason, the voice of self-improvement. But it is the voice of the ego. And its only goal is to keep you feeling small, separate, and in constant need of validation. It thrives on your belief that you are fundamentally flawed. There are other, smaller stalls. The stall of insatiable desire, filled with glittering objects and promises that one more achievement, one more purchase, one more relationship will finally make you whole. The stall of second-hand opinions, where you have collected the beliefs of your parents, your teachers, and your culture, and worn them for so long you have forgotten they are not your own clothes. The noise from all these stalls, all these merchants, creates a deafening roar. A constant internal chatter of analysis, commentary, worry, and want. This is the great noise. This is the static that drowns out the signal of your soul. Now, here is the most important question. As you walk through this marketplace, who is the one walking? Who is the one observing these stalls? You have spent your life as a frantic customer, running from the regret merchant to the anxiety salesman, haggling with the inner critic. You have been so lost in the transactions, so caught up in the noise of the crowd, that you have never realized a simple, profound truth. You are not the merchants. You are not the goods they sell. You are not even the frantic customer. You are the awareness that is watching the entire spectacle. There is a part of you right now that is conscious of this internal chaos. There is a silent witness, an inner observer. This observer is not scared by the future anxieties. It is not shamed by the past regrets. It is not wounded by the inner critic. It simply notices. It is the still point in the turning world. Finding this observer is the beginning of all freedom. You do not need to fight the noise. You do not need to argue with the merchants or shut down their stalls. The struggle only creates more noise. The act of resistance is itself a form of chaos. The only task is to shift your identity, to gently and without force withdraw your attention from the drama of the marketplace and rest in the quiet presence of the observer. Imagine yourself standing on a calm, quiet balcony, looking down upon the frantic bazaar. You can still see all the activity. You can hear the noise. But you are no longer in the middle of it. You are not being jostled by the crowd. You have found a place of refuge. From this vantage point, the noise loses its power. The voices of the merchants become distant and thin. They are no longer compelling commands, but simply sounds, thoughts, energy passing through. For a moment, just try this. As a thought of worry arises, simply label it in your mind. Ah, the anxiety merchant. No judgment, no need to push it away. Just a simple, gentle recognition. As a memory of regret appears, just notice. The regret merchant is open for business. As the inner critic begins its tirade, just smile softly to yourself. The sound of the auctioneer, this simple act of noticing, of labeling without engagement, begins to create space. In that space, silence is born. In that silence, you can begin to hear something else, a whisper, a quiet hum beneath the chaos. This is the first step, to recognize the noise for what it is, a collection of conditioned thoughts, fears, and inherited beliefs. It is a storm, but you are not the storm. You are the vast, silent, unbreakable sky that holds the storm. The noise is what you have learned. The silence is who you are. And by acknowledging this great noise, by seeing it clearly without getting lost in it, you have already taken the first, most crucial step toward remembering that silence. You are beginning to see the walls of the world you have been living in, a world built not of brick and mortar, but of sound, a prison made of noise. The great noise you have just witnessed is not random, it is purposeful. It is the sound of guards patrolling the walls, the echo of locks turning in their tumblers, the ceaseless murmur of the inmates. For this noise is the very atmosphere of a prison you have lived in your entire life. A prison so vast, so complete, that you have mistaken it for the whole of reality. This is the prison of the known. Its walls are not made of stone or steel. They are invisible, constructed from the most powerful material in the universe, your own belief. What is this known? It is the story you tell yourself about yourself. It is the sum total of your memories, your labels, your accomplishments, and your wounds. The walls are built brick by brick with every I am statement you have ever accepted as truth. I am a man, I am a woman. I am a parent, I am a child, I am an artist, I am a professional. I am an anxious person. I am a survivor. I am not good with numbers. I am always late. This is just the way I am. Each label, whether positive or negative, becomes another brick. Each memory, cherished or cursed, becomes the mortar that holds them together. This story becomes your identity, your definition. It provides a sense of certainty, a map of your personal world. It tells you who you are, where you belong, and what you can expect from life. It is comfortable, it is predictable, it is known, and it is a cage. Imagine a magnificent lion born into captivity in a traveling circus. This is its world. The bars of its cage are the edges of its reality. The daily routine of feeding time and performance is the rhythm of its life. It knows every inch of its small enclosure, the texture of the sawdust floor, the exact spot where the afternoon sun creates a warm patch for sleeping. This is the comfort of the known. The roar of the crowd is its sun and moon, the applause its only measure of worth. When it performs its tricks correctly, jumping through a hoop, balancing on a ball, the zookeeper gives it a piece of meat. This is approval. This is success. The lion learns to equate obedience with survival and performance with value. The lion has no memory of the Serengeti. It has no concept of a vast, open plain under a boundless sky. The feeling of cool rain on its magnificent mane, the thrill of a real hunt driven by instinct and power, the earth-shaking resonance of a true, untamed roar that claims its territory. These things are not even dreams. They are a forgotten language, a dormant instinct buried under layers of conditioning. The lion may feel a strange, inexplicable ache at times, a flicker of restlessness, a phantom scent on the wind that it cannot name. but it quickly dismisses it. Such feelings are dangerous. They do not fit into the known world of the cage and the applause. The zookeeper, who represents the ego and the collective conditioning of society, is not necessarily cruel. He believes he is keeping the lion safe, fed, and alive. He discourages the lion's wildness, not out of malice, but because he cannot control it. He needs the lion to be predictable, to be part of the show. You are this lion, your story, your personality, your carefully curated identity. This is your cage. The applause you seek from others in the form of promotions, likes on social media, compliments, and approval is your piece of meat. You have performed your tricks so well, for so long, that you have forgotten the Serengeti of your own soul. You have traded the wild, unpredictable freedom of your true nature for the predictable safety of the known. The prison is so comfortable because you are both the inmate and the warden. You patrol your own walls. The moment a new thought, a new opportunity, a new feeling arises that threatens the integrity of your story, your inner warden immediately sounds the alarm. That's not you, it screams. You can't do that. What will people think? It's not safe. Stay where you are. Stay with what you know. The lock on the cage door is the fear of the unknown. What exists outside the story you have told yourself? What lies beyond the identity you have so carefully constructed? The answer is terrifying to the ego, to the zookeeper. The answer is, I don't know. The unknown is perceived as a black void, a chaotic emptiness where the rules don't apply. To the ego, which thrives on control and definition, this emptiness is death, and so it convinces you to love your cage. It convinces you that the ache you feel is just a sign that you need to perform better, to earn more applause, to reinforce the bars of your known world. But the feeling that brought you here, to listen to these words, is that scent on the wind. It is the distant, rumbling memory of the Serengeti. It is the part of you that knows, on a cellular level, that you are more than this small story. It is the voice of your soul, whispering that the cage door has been unlocked the entire time. The walls are not real. They are made of thought, and they are held in place only by your continued focus upon them. You can walk right through them. This is where the real work begins. It starts by questioning the bars. Pick up one of the beliefs that forms your cage. I am not a creative person. Hold it in your awareness. Ask it, gently, is this absolutely true? Or is it just a story I learned to tell? Who would I be without this story? Whose voice first told me this was true? Do not search for an answer with your mind. Just ask the question and let it hang in the air. The question itself is a key. It creates a tiny crack in the prison wall, letting in a sliver of light from the unknown. Question your identity. You are not your job. You are not your relationship status. You are not your bank account. You are not your political beliefs. These are just costumes you are wearing, roles you are playing in the circus. They are temporary, and they are not the truth of you. The truth of you is the infinite, formless consciousness that is aware of the role being played. Of course, the zookeeper will panic. The ego will fight you. As you begin to question the walls, it will shout its most terrifying threats. You will be nothing. You will be alone. You will lose everything. And here, you must be brave. You must look that fear in the eye and understand its source. It is the fear of a predictable self dying. But what you are being invited into is not an ending, but a beginning. The nothingness the ego fears is not a void. It is pure potential. It is the open plain. It is the blank canvas before the first stroke of paint. It is the freedom to respond to life authentically in each moment, rather than reacting from a script written long ago. The choice, then, is laid bare. You can remain in the comfortable, predictable, known prison of your story, forever performing for an audience and feeling the gnawing ache of a forgotten wildness. Or you can turn toward the cage door. You can face the terrifying, exhilarating expanse of the unknown. You can take the first step out of the circus tent and into the vast, silent, starlit landscape of your true self. To do this requires a profound act of courage. It requires you to lay down the identity that has kept you safe. It means you must be willing to let go of the very armor that you believe has protected you. To step out of the prison of the known, to dare to face the vast open landscape of the unknown, requires an act of profound vulnerability. And it is here that we encounter the warden himself, the zookeeper, the guard who patrols the walls of your story. This is the ego, and the primary tool it uses to keep you confined is a magnificent, suffocating suit of armor, an armor you no longer need. This armor was not a mistake. You must understand this with great compassion for yourself. It was a masterpiece of engineering, forged in the fires of necessity. It was created for you in your childhood, when you were small and the world was large and often frightening. Each time you felt unsafe, unheard, or unloved, a new piece was hammered into place by the skilled hands of your survival instinct. A harsh word from a parent forged the heavy breastplate of perfectionism, a belief that if you were just flawless, you would finally be safe and loved. The sting of rejection on the playground forged the cold, impenetrable helmet of aloofness, a vow to never let anyone get close enough to hurt you again. The pain of a broken trust forged the stiff, unyielding gauntlets that fear to reach out, to touch, to hold, lest they be burned once more. Piece by piece, this armor was constructed. It was a brilliant strategy for a vulnerable child trying to navigate a complex world. It protected you. It helped you survive. You should honor it for its service, thank it for getting you this far. But you are no longer that helpless child, and the armor that once protected you has now become your prison. It has grown with you, becoming more ornate, more polished, but also heavier and more restrictive with each passing year. Look at it now. On the outside, it gleams. It is decorated with the medals of your accomplishments, your degrees, your job titles, your successes. It presents to the world an image of strength, competence, and control. This is your persona, the self you want the world to see. It is designed to impress and to intimidate just enough to keep others at a safe distance. But what is the experience of living inside this magnificent structure? It is an experience of profound exhaustion. The sheer weight of it is immense. Every single movement, every interaction, every decision, every day at work requires a monumental effort to maneuver this heavy, clanking shell. You wonder why you are so tired all the time. It is the weight of the armor. Your movements are stiff, unnatural. You cannot bend down spontaneously to marvel at a flower, for the waist plate is too rigid. You cannot break into a joyful, uninhibited run, for the leg greaves are too cumbersome. You cannot dance with wild abandon. Life invites you to be fluid, to flow like water, but you are encased in unbending steel. You are trapped in a posture of defense, even in moments of peace. Worse than the weight is the sensory deprivation. The helmet you wear to protect your thoughts also muffles the sounds of the world. It filters out the subtle whispers of your own intuition, that whispering compass we will soon explore. You can only hear the loud, aggressive noises of threat and opportunity that the ego deems important. The narrow slit of your visor severely limits your field of vision. You cannot see the periphery, the unexpected beauty, the serendipitous encounters waiting just outside your focal point. You see only the path the ego has decreed, the goal it is fixated upon, the enemy it has identified. And because you are encased in metal, you cannot truly feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, the gentle caress of a breeze, the comforting hand of a loved one on your arm. These sensations are dulled, distant, almost entirely lost. The armor that promises to protect you from pain also prevents you from ever feeling the deep, nourishing pleasure of genuine connection. You cannot be truly touched when you are covered in steel. This is the great paradox of the ego's armor. It promises safety, but delivers isolation. It promises strength, but creates rigidity. It offers to protect you from the pain of life, but in doing so, it strips life of its richness, its texture, its very meaning. You cannot selectively numb yourself. When you numb your capacity for pain, you simultaneously numb your capacity for joy. When you build a wall to keep out sorrow, you also wall out love. And so you walk through your life as a weary knight, clanking along a path you no longer remember choosing. You are tired of the weight. You are starved for sensation. You long to feel the sun on your face, to breathe air that is not stale and recycled from within your own helmet. But you are afraid. You have worn the armor for so long. You have forgotten the feeling of your own skin. You have come to believe that you are the armor. The ego's most clever trick is this fusion of identity. It whispers, "Without me, you are nothing." Beneath this steel is just a soft, fragile, ugly thing. You will be destroyed without my protection. This is the lie that keeps you imprisoned. The truth is that your vulnerability is not a weakness to be hidden. It is the very source of your power. It is your point of connection to all of life. The skin that can be wounded is also the skin that can feel a lover's caress. The heart that can be broken is also the heart that can be filled with overwhelming love. To be vulnerable is to be alive. To be armored is to be a walking tomb. The process of liberation, then, is not a violent battle against the ego. You do not shatter the armor with a hammer. This only creates a more jagged, wounded version of the same defense. Instead, the process is one of gentle, conscious, and courageous unbuckling. It is an act of radical self-compassion. You do it slowly, one piece at a time. You might start with a gauntlet. You make the conscious choice, just for today, to speak a truth you have been withholding for fear of judgment. You might try unlatching the helmet. You enter a conversation not with the need to be right, but with the genuine desire to listen, to understand another's world. Each small act of authenticity, each moment of genuine connection, is the sound of a buckle being released. And yes, when the first piece comes off, the air will feel shockingly cold on your newly exposed skin. You will feel naked, exposed, and utterly defenseless. The ego will scream in terror, warning you to put the armor back on immediately. This is the critical moment. In this moment, you must breathe. You must stand your ground, not with aggression, but with quiet resolve. You must be willing to feel the fear, to feel the tenderness, and to discover that you do not shatter, you do not break. Instead, you begin to feel something else, a new kind of strength, a resilience that is flexible, not rigid, the living strength of a tree that bends with the wind, rather than the brittle strength of a stone tower that cracks under pressure. This is the path, one buckle at a time, releasing the need to be perfect, releasing the need to be right, releasing the fear of being seen as you truly are. It is a journey of undressing, of shedding the heavy, metallic layers of who you are not. And as the armor begins to fall away, the noise of its clanking begins to subside. In the growing silence, you start to become aware of a very different sound. Not a roar, not a command, not a judgment, but a subtle, quiet, persistent whisper coming from the very core of your being. It has been there all along, but you could never hear it through the helmet. Now you can. As the clanking of the armor fades, a new quality of perception emerges. For the first time, perhaps in years, there is a space between your thoughts, a pause, a quiet. And in this newfound quiet, you can begin to hear it. Do not expect a thunderous voice of God from the heavens. Do not expect a clear, articulate sentence. What you are listening for is far more subtle, far more intimate. It is a whisper, a gentle pull, a faint, resonant hum beneath the floorboards of your conscious mind. This is your inner guidance system, your soul's native tongue. This is the whispering compass. This compass has been with you since the moment of your birth. It has never been broken, never been wrong. It has simply been drowned out by the noise of the marketplace and muffled by the helmet of the ego. Your primary task on this journey of remembering is to learn to distinguish the sound of this whisper from the clamor of all the other voices. This is the most crucial discernment you will ever make. The voice of the ego, the zookeeper, is loud. It is urgent, demanding, and often frantic. It speaks in the language of logic, of pros and cons, of fear and calculation. It presents you with complicated maps, drawn from the data of your past and the anxieties for your future. It shouts, "You must take this job. It has better benefits. You should not trust that person. You were hurt before. If you do this, then that will happen, and you must prepare for this other outcome." It is a relentless strategist, constantly trying to control life, to manage outcomes, to secure its own safety. Listening to the ego feels like a pressure, a tension in your head and shoulders. It creates a state of anxiety, a feeling that you must figure everything out right now, or else disaster will strike. The whispering compass is entirely different. Its voice is quiet. It is calm and steady, even when it points you toward a path that seems terrifying to the mind. It does not speak in complex sentences or logical arguments. Its language is the language of feeling, of resonance. It is the simple, undeniable feeling of expansion in your chest when you think of one path, and the subtle, uncomfortable feeling of contraction when you think of another. It is the quiet yes that feels like warmth and openness. It is the gentle no that feels like a knot in your stomach, a subtle sense of dread. It does not offer you a 10-step plan. It does not guarantee a safe or easy outcome. It offers only one thing, a direction, a true north. Imagine you are lost in a vast, ancient forest. The ego, your inner zookeeper, hands you a thick bundle of maps. One is a map drawn by your parents, showing you the path they took. Another is a map given to you by society, highlighting the well-trodden highways to success. A third is a map you drew yourself after a past failure, with huge sections marked "Here be dragons." You frantically try to consult all of them at once. They contradict each other. They are stained and torn. Following them only seems to get you more lost, more panicked, spinning in circles. The noise in your head is deafening. Now, imagine you ignore the maps. You sit down on the forest floor, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. You reach into your pocket and pull out a simple, old brass compass. It doesn't show you the entire path. It doesn't warn you about the river up ahead or the steep mountain you will have to climb. It does only one thing, but it does it perfectly. In the stillness, you watch the needle settle, and it points. It gives you a direction. With that one, simple, unwavering piece of information, you are no longer lost. You still have to walk. You still have to navigate the terrain. But you have an orientation. You have a guide that is aligned not with past fear or future anxiety, but with the fundamental magnetic field of your own truth. So how do you learn to read this compass? How do you tune your ear to its whisper? First, you must honor its nature. A whisper can only be heard in the quiet. It will not compete with the shouting of the ego. Therefore, you must consciously create moments of silence in your day. Not just external silence, but internal silence. Moments where you are not trying to figure anything out, not planning, not ruminating. Moments of just being, staring out of a window, walking in nature, sitting with a cup of tea, and truly tasting it. In these gaps, the whisper has a chance to be heard. Second, you must learn to listen with your body. Your mind is the home of the ego's maps. Your body is the housing of the compass. Your body is an incredibly sophisticated instrument of perception, and it does not lie. When you are faced with a choice, big or small, take a moment. Formulate the question in your mind. Does it serve my highest good to take this path? Then, instead of looking for an answer in your head, drop your awareness into your body. What do you feel? Is there a sense of lightness, of opening, of warmth that is the needle pointing north? Or is there a feeling of clenching, of heaviness, of coldness, a sick feeling in your gut? That is the needle telling you this is not the way. It is that simple. The mind complicates, the body knows. Begin to practice with the smallest of decisions. Do not start by asking, "What is my grand cosmic purpose?" The ego will hijack that question immediately. Start by asking, does my body want to go for a walk right now? And listen, does it feel expansive to call that friend, or does it feel like a heavy obligation? Listen, will eating this meal make me feel vibrant, or will it make me feel dull? Learn the unique language of your own body's yes and no. Build the muscle of intuitive trust on these small, everyday choices. By proving the compass to be reliable on these small journeys, you will build the courage to trust it on the great ones, and it will require courage. The greatest challenge in following the whispering compass is that its guidance will often defy logic. It may point you away from the secure job. It may guide you toward ending a relationship that looks perfect on paper. It may pull you toward a creative path that seems utterly impractical. The entire world, and every voice of your own conditioning, will tell you that you are mad. They will hold up their maps and show you, in black and white, why your path is wrong. This is the ultimate test. It is the choice between the dead certainty of the conditioned mind and the living, breathing mystery of the soul. It is the willingness to walk off the edge of the map, armed with nothing but a quiet feeling, a gentle pull. When you do follow it, a kind of magic begins to happen. You enter a state of flow. Synchronicities occur. The right people appear. The right opportunities open up. Life seems to support your every step. It is not because you are controlling it, but because for the first time, you are moving in harmony with it. You are swimming with the great current of your own life's purpose, rather than trying to swim against it. The exhaustion you felt from wearing the armor and navigating the noise begins to dissolve, replaced by a sense of energy and grace. This compass is your birthright. It is the direct line to the universe, to the intelligence that beats your heart and spins the galaxies. You have simply forgotten how to listen. The practice is not about acquiring a new skill, but about remembering an ancient one. The more you trust the whisper, the clearer and more confident it will become. And the most profound way to amplify its voice, to give it the perfect acoustic environment in which to be heard, is to consciously and deliberately enter the one place where it is the only sound. You must learn to seek out and inhabit the sacred generative power of stillness itself. To hear the whispering compass, you must create moments of quiet. But to truly live by its guidance, you must go deeper. You must be willing to befriend the very source of that quiet. You must learn to seek, to enter, and to inhabit the profound, intelligent, and generative power of stillness itself. Our world is terrified of stillness. The ego equates it with boredom, with unproductivity, with death. It will do anything to avoid it, creating endless distractions, tasks, and problems to keep the mind occupied, to keep the noise going, because in true stillness, the ego has no air to breathe. It begins to dissolve, and what is revealed in its place is the vast, peaceful, and infinitely wise nature of who you truly are. Stillness is not an absence, it is a presence. It is the most powerful presence in the universe. Think of your mind as the surface of a great deep lake. For most of your life, the winds of anxiety have been blowing across it. The pebbles of regret and worry are constantly being tossed into it. The torrential downpour of the world's demands and opinions beats down upon it. And so, the surface of your lake is in a constant state of agitation. It is a chaos of ripples, waves, and choppy currents. When you try to look into the water to see what lies beneath, or to see the sky reflected, all you can see is a distorted, fragmented, and confusing mess. You see a fractured reflection of the moon and mistake it for 1,000 broken pieces of light. You see the churning of the water and believe it is the nature of your own being. You live your life based on this distorted information, feeling confused, fragmented, and lost. You cannot force the lake to be still. You cannot stand on the shore and command the waves to cease. Yelling at the water only creates more disturbance. Fighting your thoughts only creates more thought. The path to stillness is not one of aggressive action, but of gentle cessation. You simply stop throwing pebbles into the water. You stop feeding the stories of worry and regret. You find a quiet, sheltered cove, away from the howling winds of the world's demands. You sit by the shore, and you allow the winds to die down. You allow the ripples to slowly, in their own time, subside. You allow the mud and sediment that have been churned up to gently settle back to the bottom. You do nothing. And in this sacred, patient act of doing nothing, everything is accomplished. Slowly, the surface of the lake becomes calm. It becomes like glass, a perfect, flawless mirror. And now, when you look into it, you no longer see a distorted mess. You see a perfect, whole, unbroken reflection of the moon. You see every star in the night sky, reflected in your own depths. You see the trees on the shore, the clouds floating by. The lake, in its stillness, now contains the entire universe, without any effort, without any grasping. The moon was always there, the stars were always shining, but their truth could only be perceived, could only be known, through the medium of your stillness. This is the power you are invited to discover. The answers you seek are not in the chaotic churning of the analytical mind. They are waiting for you, like the moon, to be reflected in the tranquil surface of a still awareness. So how do we find this stillness in a world that worships noise? We begin not by trying to empty the mind, for that is a fool's errand. We begin by anchoring ourselves in what is real, right now. Feel the points of contact between your body and the surface that supports it. Feel the weight of your own presence, the subtle pull of gravity. This feeling is real. It is happening now. It is not a thought. Bring your awareness to the sounds around you. Listen to the room, the hum of a distant appliance, the creak of the floorboards, the sound of my voice. But listen in a new way. Do not label the sounds. Do not judge them as good or bad, pleasant or annoying. Simply receive them as pure vibration, as raw sensory data. The sound is just sound. It is happening in the vast, silent space of your awareness. Become more interested in the silence that holds the sound than in the sound itself. That silence is stillness. Now, notice your breath, the gentle rise of your chest and abdomen on the in-breath, the soft release on the out-breath. At the very top of the inhalation, there is a pause, a moment of suspension before the breath turns. And at the very bottom of the exhalation, there is another pause, a moment of quiet emptiness before the next impulse to breathe arises. In these tiny, insignificant pauses, the entire universe of stillness can be found. Begin to rest your attention there, in the gap between breaths, in the space between thoughts. Stillness is not something you must build or achieve. You must simply notice that it is already here. It is the canvas upon which the painting of your experience unfolds. You have just been so focused on the painting, you have never noticed the canvas that makes it all possible. To consciously choose to be still, to do nothing, is a radical act. It is a rebellion against the tyranny of productivity. It is a declaration of sovereignty over your own inner world. It is a statement that your being is infinitely more valuable than your doing. In these moments of intentional stillness, you are not being lazy or wasting time. You are coming home. You are recharging at the very source of your power. And this stillness speaks. It does not use words. Its language is clarity. A problem that your mind has wrestled with for weeks, tying itself in knots of logic and anxiety, can suddenly resolve itself or reveal its own irrelevance when held in the open, silent space of your awareness. The answer does not come from the stillness. The answer reveals itself in the stillness. Its language is also creativity. The thinking mind can only ever rearrange what it already knows. True inspiration, novel insight, and strokes of genius do not come from the noise of thought. They bubble up from the fertile, silent ground of your being when the mind is at rest. Most importantly, the language of stillness is peace. As you sit in stillness, you begin to realize that peace is not a goal to be attained. It is not a prize you win after a long and arduous struggle. You discover that peace is your fundamental nature. It is the unchanging background of your experience. It is what remains when the noise of the personality, the armor of the ego, and the stories of the mind are allowed to settle. You do not have to create peace. You only have to stop creating noise. Therefore, do not think of this as another task you must add to your to-do list. Meditate for 20 minutes. Be still. This just becomes another source of pressure, another stick for the inner critic to beat you with if you fail. See it instead as a return, an act of grace you bestow upon yourself. It is a homecoming. Throughout your day, remember to come home, even for just a moment. Take one conscious breath where you simply feel the sensation of being alive. Look out a window and just see, without thinking. Sit in your chair and just feel your own presence. Each moment of return to stillness is a vote for your true self. It weakens the powerful momentum of habitual thinking and strengthens the quiet, resilient presence of your being. This return, this homecoming, is a process of purification. It is an undoing. It is the sacred art of unbecoming everything you are not, so that the truth of who you are can finally shine. The stillness you have begun to touch is not a destination. It is a doorway, and when you step through it, you begin the most transformative work a human being can undertake. You begin the sacred art of unbecoming. Our entire civilization is built upon the opposite principle. It is built on the myth of becoming. From the moment you are born, you are enrolled in an endless project of addition. You must become educated, become successful, become wealthy, become attractive, become respected. Even on the spiritual path, the trap is the same. You strive to become enlightened, become compassionate, become mindful, become a better version of yourself. It is an exhausting, impossible task. It is a race with no finish line, because its fundamental premise is a lie. The premise is that you are currently lacking, that you are an incomplete project that must be improved upon. And so you spend your life accumulating, adding layers of knowledge, identity, and experience, hoping that one day you will add the final piece that makes you whole. This is the great spiritual misunderstanding. The journey is not about adding a single thing to yourself. It is about having the immense courage to subtract everything that is false. Illumination is not the arrival of a new light from somewhere else. It is the removal of all the barriers you have built that obscure the light that is already shining within you. You are not a fixer-upper. You are a masterpiece hidden in plain sight. This is the sacred art of unbecoming. It is a path of courageous relinquishment, a journey of divine subtraction. It is the understanding that your true self is not something you build, but something you reveal. Imagine a master sculptor who is given a great rough block of marble. His task is to create a sculpture of a perfect, celestial being. Does he start by mixing clay and adding it to the stone? Does he try to glue on extra pieces of marble? Number A fool does that. The master knows a profound secret. He knows that the masterpiece is already complete inside the block of stone. It has always been there, perfect and whole. His task is not to add, but to remove. With infinite patience, precision, and love, he takes up his hammer and chisel. His job is simply to chip away all the pieces of marble that are not the masterpiece. The form is revealed not through creation, but through subtraction. You are both the sculptor and the stone. Your life experiences, your conditioning, your culture, this is the rough block of marble. And your true self, your divine nature, is the perfect form sleeping within it. The art of unbecoming is the process of picking up the chisel of your awareness and the hammer of your courage and beginning to chip away at the excess stone. What is this excess stone? It is everything you believe yourself to be that is not the silent, aware presence reading these words. You must unbecome your story. The narrative of your past, with its triumphs and its traumas, is a heavy stone. You carry it around, telling it to yourself and others, believing it defines you. The sculptor knows this is just a story. It is a piece of excess marble with a sharp, compassionate tap of the chisel, you let it fall away. You are not the story of your past. You are the one who survived it. You are the one who is here, now. You must unbecome your labels. The roles you play, parent, child, professional, partner, friend, are useful, but they are not you. They are costumes, the adjectives you have cemented to your identity. I am anxious. I am successful. I am a failure. I am intelligent. Heavy, confining layers of stone. You have identified with them for so long, you fear you would be nothing without them. But the sculptor is ruthless with love. He knows these labels are not the masterpiece. He chips them away, one by one. You must unbecome your beliefs. The vast architecture of opinions, dogmas, and second-hand truths you have inherited is perhaps the thickest layer of marble. Beliefs you absorbed from your family, your education, your culture, your religion. You have likely never questioned them. They feel like the very bedrock of reality. But the art of unbecoming asks you to place every single belief on the sculptor's stand and ask, is this absolutely true? Or is it just a part of the stone that hides the form? This is terrifying work. It feels like taking a chisel to your own foundation. But the masterpiece is not a belief. It is a living presence. You must even unbecome your spiritual ambition. The desire to be enlightened, the accumulation of spiritual concepts, the pride in your meditative practice, this can become the most subtle and stubborn layer of marble. It is gilded stone, beautiful and impressive, but stone nonetheless. The true self is not spiritual. It simply is. The desire to become enlightened is the final, most clever trick of the ego to keep the project of becoming alive. Unbecoming is the act of letting go of even the desire to arrive. This process can feel like a loss. Each time a piece of your known identity is chipped away, the ego screams as if it is dying, because it is. You are dismantling the false self, and it feels like you are dismantling your very being. But this is not destruction. It is an act of profound and loving creation through release. Think of this process in another way. Imagine a great, ancient tree. In the spring and summer, it grows, extending its branches, producing thousands of leaves to drink in the sunlight. This is the stage of becoming, of accumulation. But then autumn comes. The air grows cool. The light changes. And what does the tree do? Does it cling to its leaves, fearing the emptiness of its branches? Does it mourn the loss of the very things that gave it life all summer? The tree enters the sacred process of unbecoming. It understands, in its deep, silent wisdom, that it must let go. It releases its leaves, one by one, allowing them to fall to the earth and become nourishment for its own roots. It is not a death. It is a necessary surrender. The tree knows that this letting go is essential for its survival through the winter and for the possibility of a new, more vibrant rebirth in the spring. Your beliefs, your identities, your stories, they are your leaves. They served you for a season. They helped you grow and learn. But autumn has come for them. The art of unbecoming is the wisdom of letting them fall. To cling to them is to become a brittle, dead thing, forever stuck in a season that has passed. To let them go is to trust in the cycles of life, to enter a period of fertile emptiness, and to prepare the way for a new kind of growth you cannot yet imagine. So how do we practice this in our daily lives? We practice it through the power of the sacred number. This is not the petulant no of the ego, but the clarifying no of the soul. It is an act of unbecoming in motion. Every day, you have 1,000 opportunities to practice. You say a sacred no to the voice of your inner critic when it begins its litany of your flaws. You do not argue with it. You simply withdraw your attention. You unbecome the one who believes that voice. You say a sacred no to the relentless urge to check your phone, to fill every moment of silence with distraction. You unbecome the one who is terrified of emptiness. You say a sacred no to participating in gossip, to joining the chorus of complaint and judgment. You unbecome the one who builds identity by demeaning others. You say a sacred no to the cultural pressure to be constantly busy, to measure your worth by your productivity. You unbecome the one who believes their value lies in their doing, rather than their being. Each sacred no is a tap of the sculptor's chisel. It is you defining what you are not. It is an act of purification. It creates space. It reclaims your vital energy from the endless distractions that seek to drain it. It is a quiet, powerful revolution against the noise of the world and the conditioning of your own mind. It is you choosing the masterpiece over the marble. As you continue this process, chipping away, letting the leaves fall, a terrifying and exhilarating question will arise. If I am not my story, not my job, not my beliefs, not my body, not my thoughts, then what am I? The mind cannot answer this question, and it panics. It looks into the space you have created and sees only a void, an emptiness, a nothingness. It will tell you that you are erasing yourself. This is the ego's final stand. And here, you must stand with the sculptor, with the ancient tree, and trust the process. You must be willing to become nothing. But this is the great secret. The nothingness you fear is not a void, it is a plenum. It is not an empty absence, but a vibrant, living presence. You are not becoming nothing. You are becoming no thing. You are unbecoming everything that you have mistaken for yourself, so that the formless, timeless, conscious space that you truly are can be revealed. You are the sky, finally realizing you are not the clouds that pass through you. You are the silent canvas, realizing you are not the frenetic painting that appears upon you. You are the stillness, realizing you are not the transient sounds that arise within you. This is the ultimate liberation. It is freedom from the crushing, lifelong burden of having to be someone. You are released from your own story. You are freed from the prison of your own mind. You no longer need the world to validate you, because you have discovered a wellspring of peace and being within you that is not dependent on any external condition. You are no longer a noun, a fixed and defined thing. You have become a verb, a process, a flow. You have unbecome everything, and in doing so, you have finally, truly, become yourself. This is not an endpoint. It is the beginning of truly living. And as these heavy layers of identity fall away, you become more sensitive, more open. You are no longer armored against the world. You begin to feel the weather of life, its joys, its sorrows, its subtle shifts more directly, more intimately. You are ready to learn that you are not the storm, but the sky that holds it all. As you practice the sacred art of unbecoming, as you gently let the armor fall away, a new sensitivity begins to dawn. You are no longer encased in the numbing steel of your persona. You are open. Your skin is new, and it can feel the world with an intimacy that is both beautiful and at times terrifying. With this openness, you will feel joy more keenly than ever before. But you will also feel sorrow. You will feel anger. You will feel fear. The great weather patterns of human emotion will move through you with a new intensity. The immediate temptation, born of old habits, will be to panic, to believe that this vulnerability is a weakness, and to hastily begin rebuilding your armor. This is a critical juncture on your path. Here, you must learn the profound difference between feeling an emotion and becoming it. You must learn that you are the sky, not the weather. The source of almost all human suffering is not the pain itself, but a simple case of mistaken identity. When a feeling of anger arises, the mind immediately declares, "I am angry." In that single reflexive statement, the boundless, infinite space of your being is collapsed into the tight, hot, constricted energy of a temporary emotion. When a wave of sadness washes over you, the mind says, "I am sad." Your entire identity is suddenly submerged, and you believe you are drowning. You have confused yourself with the storm. You have forgotten that you are the vast, silent, and unchanging sky in which the storm is merely a passing event. Let us look at this more closely. The nature of the sky is to be a vast, open, allowing space. The nature of weather is to be transient, energetic, and ever-changing. The weather is what happens within the sky. It is not the sky itself. Your consciousness, your true self, is the sky. Your emotions are the weather. Think of anger. It often arrives like a sudden, violent thunderstorm. There is the flash of lightning, the roar of thunder, the percussive blast of wind and rain. It is a spectacle of immense energy. It can feel all-consuming. When you identify with it, you become the storm. You are the lightning, seeking to strike. You are the thunder, needing to roar. You become destructive to yourself and to others, lost in the chaotic energy. But what is this storm to the sky? It is simply a temporary electrical event in a small corner of its vastness. The sky is not afraid of the thunder. The lightning cannot scar it. The wind cannot tear it. The sky simply holds the storm, providing the space for its energy to be expressed, knowing with a deep, silent certainty that it will pass. And after the storm has raged, the sky remains, perhaps even clearer and cleaner than before. Consider sadness or grief. This weather is often like a long, slow, soaking rain that can last for days. A heavy gray blanket of cloud covers everything, and the world seems muted, dark, and joyless. When you believe you are this rain, you feel heavy, waterlogged, and endlessly sorrowful. You believe the sun will never shine again. But what is this rain to the sky? It is a necessary release. It is a cleansing. It is the washing away of what needs to be let go. The sky does not become sad. It allows the sadness, the rain, to fall. It holds the gray clouds with a quiet, compassionate embrace, knowing that this, too, is part of the natural cycle. The sky is the stillness that allows for tears. And what of anxiety and fear? This is the thick, disorienting fog. When it rolls in, you can no longer see the path ahead. Every shadow seems to hold a threat. The world shrinks to a few feet in front of your face, and your mind races, trying to predict danger from a place of blindness. When you believe you are the fog, you are lost, paralyzed, and convinced of imminent doom. But what is the fog to the sky? The sky knows that the fog is just a cloud that has decided to hug the earth for a little while. It knows that just a few hundred feet above the thickest fog, the sun is shining brilliantly. The vast, clear, blue expanse is completely untouched. The sky holds the fog without being lost within it, knowing its temporary and illusory nature. Even joy can be a form of weather we mistakenly identify with. A perfect, sun-drenched, cloudless day. It is warm, brilliant, and feels wonderful. The mind says, "I am happy," and clings to the sunshine with all its might. It begins to fear the first sign of a cloud, dreading the end of the perfect day. By identifying with the good weather, we plant the seeds of suffering for when the weather inevitably changes. The sky, however, does not cling. It bathes in the warmth of the sun, allowing the perfect day to be exactly as it is, without fearing its end. It allows joy, just as it allows rain as a transient, beautiful expression of life passing through its boundless expanse. Your task, then, is to cultivate this sky-like nature within yourself. You must learn to stop contracting your being into the shape of a passing cloud, and instead, to rest in the open, spacious awareness that you are. The sky never resists the weather. It does not try to push the clouds away. Resistance is futile and only creates more internal pressure. The sky's power lies in its unconditional allowing. Its strength is its own vastness. This is your power too. How do you practice this? You begin by changing your language, both internal and external. When the hot energy of anger arises, catch yourself before you say, "I am angry." Instead, try a more accurate description. This is the energy of anger. I feel it in my body. Or, the weather of anger is passing through me now. This simple shift in language is revolutionary. It creates an immediate space between the observer you, the sky, and the observed phenomenon, emotion, the weather. You are no longer the storm. You are the one who is aware of the storm. Next, you learn to feel the energy without feeding the story. An emotion has two parts: the raw physical sensation in the body, and the mental story the ego quickly attaches to it. The story is the fuel that turns a brief shower into a week-long hurricane. The practice is to bypass the story and go directly to the raw sensation. Where do you feel the sadness in your body? Is it a hollowness in your chest, a lump in your throat? Let go of the story of why you are sad, and just for a moment, be intensely curious about the physical feeling itself. Be with it. Breathe into it. Give it space. When you do this, you will discover that the raw energy of an emotion, without a story to sustain it, passes through you much more quickly. It is like a flash of lightning without the thunder. This is an act of radical compassion. You are not at war with your feelings. You are creating a safe, loving, infinite space for them to exist. You are giving your pain permission to be there, without judgment. You are giving your fear room to tremble, without shaming it. You are becoming a sanctuary for your own experience. In doing this, you discover the most profound truth. You are unbreakable. The weather can be violent, but the sky is never harmed. Your heart can be broken, but the boundless awareness that holds your heart is never broken. Your hopes can be shattered, but the vast, silent being that you are remains pristine, whole, and eternally at peace. This is the end of being a victim to your own emotional life. This is the beginning of true emotional freedom. You are no longer running from the past storm or anxiously scanning the horizon for the next one. You are here, now, present and open, able to handle any weather that comes, because you know, with unshakable certainty, that you are the sky. And the most direct, tangible anchor you have to the sky of this present moment, the very currency of the now, is as close as your own breath. To be the sky, to hold the weather of your life with spacious, unbreakable peace, requires you to find your center. You need an anchor that can hold you steady in the most ferocious of storms, yet is so light you can carry it with you at all times. An anchor that is not located in a past memory or a future hope, but is rooted in the very heart of reality itself. This anchor exists. It has been with you every moment of your life, a constant, faithful companion you have almost completely ignored. This anchor is your breath, and to understand its power, you must first understand the phantom worlds you have been living in. For most of your life, you have not inhabited reality. You have lived as a ghost, haunting the twin realms of past and future. These two worlds, which do not exist anywhere but in your mind, have been the primary architects of your identity and your suffering. The past is a vast, cold museum filled with ghosts. You wander its halls endlessly. In one wing, you gaze at your triumphs, replaying golden moments, trying to recapture a feeling that is long gone. In another, darker wing, you stare at your regrets. You endlessly polish the glass cases displaying your failures, your humiliations, the wounds inflicted upon you, and the wounds you inflicted upon others. You hold conversations with people who are no longer there, arguing with them, seeking their forgiveness, blaming them. You spend your precious, living energy trying to rewrite a history that is already written, a film that has already ended. It is a kingdom of shadows, and you have made it your home. The future is a hall of mirrors, a funhouse of fantasy and fear. It is a blank screen upon which you project an endless stream of scenarios. You spend hours meticulously planning for a promotion, a vacation, a relationship, believing that your happiness lies just over the horizon at a destination called when. I will be happy when I get the job. I will be at peace when I find a partner. My life will start when I move to a new city. This future chasing creates a constant, low-grade hum of anxiety, a feeling of never quite arriving. Or you project your fears, creating elaborate horror films in which you lose everything you hold dear. You live in a state of perpetual rehearsal for tragedies that may never come to pass, tensing your body and mind against imagined blows. These two realms, the past and the future, are phantom creditors. They are masters of illusion, and they have enslaved you. The past sends you an endless stream of invoices for your regrets and guilts. The future demands exorbitant down payments for its promises of security and its threats of disaster. They are relentless, and they demand payment in the only currency you truly possess, your present moment awareness. Every moment you spend lost in rumination about yesterday, you are paying the past. Every moment you spend lost in worry about tomorrow, you are paying the future. You are giving away the entirety of your life's fortune to entities that are not even real. You are bankrupting the living moment to pay for ghosts and fantasies. The breath is your liberation. It is the one true, untarnishable currency. It is a coin minted from the pure gold of reality itself. Why? Because the breath can only exist now. You cannot take a breath yesterday. You cannot take your next breath in an hour. You can only take it in this exact, fleeting, eternal moment. Each conscious breath you take is an act of reclaiming your wealth. It is you, stepping out of the phantom worlds of thought and planting your flag firmly in the soil of the living present. Let us practice this now, not as an exercise, but as an act of homecoming. Gently bring your attention to the fact that you are breathing. Do not try to change your breath. Do not try to improve it or control it. Simply become aware of it. Your only task is to feel the physical sensation of the breath as it moves in and out of your body. Feel the next inhalation. Feel the cool air as it enters your nostrils, a subtle refreshment. Follow it as it travels down your throat, into your lungs. Feel the gentle, expansive opening of your chest and belly. This in-breath is an act of receiving. You are receiving life itself. You are receiving the gift of this moment, this energy. It is a quiet, powerful affirmation of your right to exist, to take up space, to be here. Now, feel the exhalation. Feel the slight pause as the tide turns. Feel the warm air as it leaves your body, a soft release. Feel the gentle deflation of your chest, the letting go in your muscles. This out-breath is an act of surrender. You are releasing what is no longer needed. You are letting go of the previous moment, of stale energy, of tension. It is a mini-death, making space for a new birth. The inhalation is a receiving. The exhalation is a letting go. This is the fundamental rhythm of all of life, happening inside your own body, moment by moment. It is a perfect, self-contained cycle of creation and dissolution. To anchor your awareness in this simple, profound rhythm is to align yourself with the very pulse of the universe. It is to come home to reality, when the storms of emotion begin to rage, when the winds of the mind threaten to sweep you away into the past or the future. The breath is your anchor. The chaotic energy of anger will demand you revisit past grievances. The cold fog of anxiety will demand you script future catastrophes. The mind will begin to spin its powerful, hypnotic stories. In these moments, the practice is not to fight the mind, but simply to remember your anchor. Return your attention to the simple, physical, undeniable reality of one single breath. Feel it come in, feel it go out. That's all. In that one moment of conscious breathing, you have broken the spell. You have cut the power supply to the mental movie projector. You have pulled yourself out of the abstract, illusory world of thought and dropped yourself back into the concrete, sensory reality of your own body. You are no longer a disembodied thought stream. You are here. You are alive. You can feel your feet on the floor, the air on your skin. The storm may still be raging, but you are no longer lost in it. You are anchored. This is the currency of a single breath. It buys you back from the ghosts of yesterday. It redeems you from the anxieties of tomorrow. It purchases for you the entire kingdom of the present moment. Your life is not the story your mind tells you about it. Your life is not a collection of memories or a series of goals. Your life is a sequence of nows. And this now, this one, is the only place your life is ever actually happening. To be unconscious of your breath is to be unconscious of your life. Each conscious breath is a small act of rebellion. It is a quiet revolution against the tyranny of the conditioned mind. It is you, choosing the living reality of your senses over the dead abstractions of thought. It is you, investing your awareness in the only thing that will ever yield a true return, the present moment. As you become more grounded in this moment, as you inhabit your body with more presence, you begin to perceive the world differently. You start to see how life responds to you, how the universe seems to communicate not with your thoughts, but with the state of your being. You begin to understand that the world around you is not a random, judgmental place, but a perfect mirror reflecting back to you the quality of your own presence. As you become anchored in the present moment through the steady rhythm of your breath, you begin to perceive the world in a new way. The hard line between your inner self and your outer experience starts to dissolve. You notice subtle synchronicities, strange echoes between your state of mind and the events of your day. This perception opens the door to one of the most profound laws of existence, a truth that, once understood, shifts you from a position of victimhood to one of profound creative power. The truth is this: the universe does not judge you. It does not reward or punish you. The universe simply, and with flawless precision, mirrors you. For millennia, humanity has lived under the shadow of a great misunderstanding, the belief in a judgmental cosmos. We imagined a cosmic parent, a god or a force sitting on a throne, keeping a ledger of our good and bad deeds. We believed that if we followed the rules, if we prayed hard enough, if we were morally good, we would be rewarded with happiness, health, and abundance. And if we failed, if we transgressed, we would be punished with suffering and misfortune. This model, born of a child's understanding of the world, has been the source of immeasurable fear, guilt, and shame. It casts you as a powerless subject, forever trying to curry favor with a powerful, unpredictable, and external authority. It is a paradigm of separation, and it is time to let it go. The reality is infinitely more elegant, more impersonal, and more empowering. The universe is not a sentient judge. It is a vast, impartial mirror. Imagine you are standing before a perfectly polished, infinitely large mirror. It has no opinions, no preferences, no agenda of its own. Its only function is to reflect perfectly whatever stands before it. If you approach the mirror with a furious scowl on your face, the mirror will show you a furious scowl. It is not judging you for being angry. It is not punishing you. It is simply showing you the face you are making. If you scream at the reflection, telling it to smile, but continue to scowl yourself, the reflection will only scream back. To change the reflection, you would never try to manipulate the mirror. The thought is absurd. You understand, instantly, that the change must come from you. You must be the one to soften your expression, to allow a gentle smile to form on your own lips. Only then, without any effort or delay, will the mirror reflect a smile back at you. Your life is this reflection. Your circumstances, your relationships, your health, your finances. These are the images appearing in the great mirror of the cosmos. Your inner state of being the silent, background feeling tone that you carry with you throughout the days, the expression on your face. For years, you have been trying to change the reflection. You have struggled and fought with your circumstances, trying to force them to be different. You have been screaming at the mirror, demanding that it show you a picture of a happy, abundant, peaceful life, all the while carrying a deep inner state of lack, anxiety, and unworthiness. It can never work. The mirror is a law. It can only reflect what is. This is where many popular interpretations of this law fall short. They mistake the reflection for the source. They tell you to focus on positive thinking, to use affirmations, to create vision boards. These can be useful tools, but they often fail because they are focused on polishing the mirror rather than changing the face. You can stand in front of the mirror chanting, "I am happy, I am wealthy, I am loved." But if the underlying state in your body is one of anxiety, lack, and loneliness, the mirror will not reflect your words. It will reflect your feeling. The universe does not respond to your thoughts. It responds to the state of being from which those thoughts arise. Let us use another metaphor. Your state of being is the soil in a garden. Your thoughts, intentions, and desires are the seeds. You can have the most expensive, high-quality seeds in the world, seeds of abundance, love, and perfect health. But if you throw them onto dry, toxic, rock-hard soil, nothing will grow. You will only become frustrated and blame the seeds for their failure. The wise gardener does not obsess over the seeds. The wise gardener devotes himself to tending the soil. He enriches it, waters it, removes the weeds and the rocks. He knows that if the soil is fertile, almost any seed he plants will flourish. So, how do you tend the soil of your being? You do it by cultivating the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is the great secret. The universe does not respond to your wanting of a thing, because the act of wanting is a declaration of lack. It is a state of being that says, "I do not have." The universe, being a perfect mirror, dutifully reflects your state of not having by giving you more experiences of it. The key is to shift your state of being to one of having it already. You must assume the feeling of your wish as if it were an accomplished fact. Do not ask, "How can I get love?" Instead, ask, "What would it feel like to be deeply and unconditionally loved right now?" And then, you generate that feeling in your body. You embody the warmth, the openness, the security, the radiance of that state without any external evidence to justify it. You walk, talk, and breathe as the person who is already loved. This is tending the soil. Do not focus on, "I want to be abundant." Instead, cultivate the feeling of abundance now. And the most powerful tool for this is gratitude. Not the polite, mental recitation of thank you, but the deep, visceral feeling of appreciation. Feel gratitude for the breath in your lungs, for the chair that supports you, for the light coming through the window. By generating a genuine state of gratitude, you shift your entire being from a frequency of lack to a frequency of sufficiency. You are telling the universe, through the language of feeling, "I have enough. I am taken care of." The universe, the great mirror, must then reflect this state of enough by bringing you more experiences for which to be grateful. This requires you to let go of the ego's most persistent demand, the need to know how. When you embody a state of being, you must release your attachment to the specific way it will be reflected back to you. The ego wants a predictable, linear plan, but the intelligence of the universe is infinitely more creative than your mind. Your job is to create the inner state, the fertile soil. The universe's job is to handle the logistics of the reflection. This is an act of profound trust, of surrendering your limited, logical mind to a far greater creative intelligence. This understanding changes everything. You are no longer a supplicant, begging for scraps from a cosmic king. You are a creator, standing at the center of your own perceptual universe. Your life is not a random series of events happening to you. It is a perfect feedback loop responding from you. Every event, every person, every challenge in your life is a message from the mirror. It is a reflection inviting you to look within, to examine the state of your own heart. When you see lack reflected in your world, it is an invitation to cultivate abundance within. When you see conflict, it is an invitation to find peace within. This is the ultimate responsibility and therefore the ultimate freedom. The reflection you experience is not a judgment. It is simply information. It is guidance. It is the universe, in its infinite, impersonal love, showing you your own face, so that you may remember who you truly are. And the very quality of this face, the feeling tone of your being, emits a silent, powerful signal. It is a resonance, a vibration that is the true creative force in your life. The universe, in its perfection, mirrors your inner state. The mechanism for this flawless reflection is the law of resonance. This is not a mystical belief, but a fundamental principle of physics and creation. Everything in existence, from the chair you are sitting on, to the thoughts in your mind, to the planet spinning in space, is energy. And all energy vibrates at a particular frequency. You are not a solid, separate object navigating a dead world. You are a broadcasting system of energy, a living field of consciousness, and your dominant frequency is the most powerful creative force in your life. This is the resonance of your being. Imagine you hold in your hand a simple tuning fork, one designed to vibrate at the frequency of middle C. Across the room is another tuning fork, identical to the one you hold. You strike your tuning fork against a surface, and it begins to hum, emitting its clear, singular note into the air. A remarkable thing happens. The second tuning fork, untouched by you, begins to vibrate in sympathy. It begins to sing the same note, quietly at first, then more strongly. It has caught the vibration. Now, imagine the room is also filled with tuning forks of every other possible note D, F sharp, B flat. When you strike your middle C fork, these other forks remain silent. They are deaf to the vibration you have sent out. They can only respond to a frequency that matches their own nature. This is the law of sympathetic resonance. Like attracts like. You are a living human tuning fork. Your dominant state of being, the silent emotional home you live in, is the frequency you are constantly broadcasting into the universe. It is your signature note. The world around you is a room full of other tuning forks. It can only vibrate in sympathy with the note you are consistently playing. When your being is tuned to the frequency of fear, a state of anxiety, worry, and a belief in your own vulnerability, you broadcast this low, dense vibration. You become a magnet for other energies that resonate with fear. You will find yourself in situations that justify your anxiety. You will meet people who mirror your feelings of insecurity. You will interpret neutral events through the lens of fear. You are tuned to the fear station, and so that is the only music your life can play. When your being is tuned to the frequency of lack, a state of envy, jealousy, and a constant awareness of what you do not have, you broadcast the frequency of not enough. The universe, in its impersonal, law-like perfection, resonates with your state of not enough by providing you with more evidence of it. Opportunities will seem to pass you by. Others will seem to have what you want. You are a tuning fork for scarcity, and so the world hums a song of scarcity back to you. Conversely, when you tune your being to the frequency of gratitude and peace, a state of quiet appreciation for what is, a trust in the flow of life, you broadcast a high, clear, coherent frequency. You become a tuning fork that activates peace and gratitude in the world around you. You begin to notice the abundance that is already present. You attract people who are calm and supportive. You find yourself in the right place at the right time. Your life begins to play the music of grace and flow. This is not a reward, it is resonance. Think of yourself as a powerful radio tower, broadcasting a signal every second of every day. Your resonance is that signal. The universe is a vast radio receiver that can only pick up the station you are transmitting. For years, you may have been broadcasting a signal of anxiety and disappointment, while desperately trying to force the receiver to play a symphony of joy. You complain about the static. You get angry at the terrible music. You try to fix the radio's knobs. But the wise person stops fighting with the receiver. They make the journey back to the broadcasting tower and change the signal at its source. What determines this signal? It is not your fleeting, positive thoughts. You cannot broadcast a clear signal if the tower itself is broken and patched together. Your resonance is the sum total of your being. It is determined by the deep currents that run beneath the surface of your mind. It is shaped by your core beliefs, the often unconscious assumptions you hold about life, God, and yourself. A core belief like "I am not worthy of love" is a constant, low-frequency hum that pollutes your entire broadcast, no matter how many affirmations you lay on top of it. Your resonance is determined by your emotional home. What is the feeling you return to most often when you are not distracted? For many, that home is a low-level anxiety, a subtle resentment, or a quiet sadness. This habitual emotional state is your dominant frequency. It is the note you play without even realizing it. Your resonance is also affected by your physical body. The food you eat, the way you hold your posture, the health of your cell contribute to the overall energy you emit. To consciously change your resonance is the true creative work. And it is not done through force. You cannot command a tuning fork to play a different note. You cannot yell at your anxiety to become peace. You must become a new tuning fork. You do this by consciously choosing to generate the feeling of the frequency you wish to embody. This is the practical application of the previous lessons. This is where the breath, the stillness, and the mirror all come together. The practice is to feel. If you desire peace, do not chase it in the external world. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and ask your body, what does the feeling of peace feel like? Perhaps it is a warmth in your chest, a relaxation in your shoulders, a sense of spaciousness in your head. Find even a faint echo of that feeling, and then gently hold your attention there for 30 seconds, for a minute. In that moment of conscious feeling, you are not just thinking about peace. You are broadcasting peace. You are vibrating at that frequency. You are becoming a new tuning fork. The longer you can hold that feeling state, the more powerful your new signal becomes. This is the art of attunement. You consciously attune your own instrument to the music you wish to experience in the world. You can assist this process by immersing yourself in things that already resonate at a high frequency. Listen to music that uplifts your soul. Spend time in the silent, peaceful resonance of nature. Read words that inspire a feeling of expansion and love. Be around people whose very presence feels like coming home. These are external tuning forks that can help your own being remember its true harmonious note. At the same time, you must be willing to let go of all that vibrates at a lower frequency. This means letting go of the seductive payoff you get from your negativity, the righteousness of your anger, the sympathy you get from your victimhood, the familiar comfort of your anxiety. This is the detoxification. You are choosing to stop playing the old, sad song so that a new, more beautiful melody can emerge. You are in a constant, silent, energetic conversation with reality. The universe does not understand your words of petition or complaint. It understands only the language of frequency. Your resonance is your power. It is your prayer. It is your creative command. Life is not doing things to you. Life is simply matching the song that you sing. And when you understand this, you see that every experience, pleasant or unpleasant, is not a reward or a punishment. It is simply a perfect note of feedback, a consequence of your own music, designed to teach you, to guide you, and to help you understand the profound and elegant law of cause and effect. As your understanding of resonance deepens, as you begin to see the undeniable link between your inner state and your outer world, an ancient and often fearsome question arises. What about the difficult things? What about the pain, the loss, the seemingly unjust struggles that mark a human life? If the universe is a mirror, is it not then a cruel one? The mind, in its search for answers, often latches onto a powerful and profoundly misunderstood concept, karma. For many in the modern world, the word itself brings a chill. It evokes a sense of cosmic doom, of an inescapable fate, of a divine ledger where our past sins are tallied, awaiting a future, unavoidable punishment. We see our struggles as evidence of past failures, perhaps from lives we cannot even remember, and we resign ourselves to suffering, believing it is just my karma. Today, we will dismantle this prison of fear. We will take the word karma, which has been twisted into a weapon of guilt and fatalism, and restore it to its original, beautiful, and incredibly empowering meaning. For karma is not a system of punishment. It is a system of education. It is not the wrath of a judging God. It is the compassionate feedback of a loving universe. Karma is not your jailer. It is your most patient and dedicated teacher. At its root, the Sanskrit word karma simply means action or deed. That is all. The law of karma is the law of action and its corresponding consequence. It is the recognition that we live in an intelligent universe where nothing is random. It is the spiritual equivalent of Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. It is a neutral, impersonal, and flawless law of cause and effect applied to the realm of consciousness. To fear karma is like fearing gravity. Gravity does not punish you for stepping off a cliff. It simply provides the consequence for the action. It is a law, and understanding it allows you to navigate the world safely. Karma is the gravity of the soul. Understanding it allows you to navigate your life with grace and freedom. Let us use a simple metaphor. Imagine your consciousness is a plot of rich, fertile earth. Every action you take, and more importantly, the inner state of being from which that action arises, is a seed that you plant in this earth. You can plant a seed of anger, a seed of kindness, a seed of generosity, a seed of fear. Now, what is karma in this metaphor? Karma is not the entity that looks at your seed and decides if it was good or bad. Karma is the water. It is the sun. It is the impersonal, life-giving principle of the universe that nourishes whatever seed you have planted, helping it grow into its natural, inevitable form. If you plant a seed of anger acting out, speaking harsh words from a place of rage karma, the water will diligently nourish that seed. It will help it grow, and it will mature into a thorny, bitter bush of conflict and alienation. When you prick your hand on its thorns, it is not the universe punishing you. It is the universe simply allowing you to experience the natural result of the seed you chose to plant. It is a direct experience of the nature of anger. Conversely, if you plant a seed of compassion and act of selfless giving from a place of love, karma, the water and the sun, will just as diligently nourish that seed. It will help it grow into a magnificent, fruit-bearing tree of connection, support, and joy. The sweetness of the fruit is not a reward. It is simply the natural, inevitable expression of the compassionate seed. The water does not judge. The sun does not have an opinion. They simply nourish what is. Karma, in its profound impartiality, does the same. It brings your own consciousness to fruition so that you can see, feel, and taste what you have been planting. Your life, right now, is a garden filled with the plants that have grown from your past actions and states of being. Looking at it this way removes all notions of blame, guilt, or injustice. The question is no longer, why is the universe doing this to me? The question becomes, what have I been planting? This is how karma functions as the ultimate teacher. Its curriculum is your life. Its classroom is the world. Its lessons are the very circumstances you find yourself in. Do you find yourself in a recurring pattern? Perhaps you move from one difficult relationship to another, always ending up with a partner who is emotionally unavailable. This is not a curse. This is not a punishment for a past life misdeed. This is your teacher karma, patiently presenting you with the same lesson over and over, because you have not yet learned it. The lesson is likely about self-worth, about learning to find wholeness within yourself before seeking it from another. The difficult partner is not your tormentor. They are the embodiment of your lesson plan. They are the mirror showing you the part of yourself that needs healing. Do you experience a persistent lack of abundance, a constant struggle with money? This is the teacher showing you where your consciousness is rooted in a state of scarcity. It is a direct invitation to learn the lesson of cultivating an inner state of sufficiency, gratitude, and trust, regardless of external circumstances. Every recurring challenge in your life is a karmic lesson. It is a signpost pointing directly to a belief system, an emotional habit, or a state of being within you that is out of alignment with your true, peaceful, abundant nature. The purpose is not to make you suffer. The purpose is to make you wake up. The teacher's method is experiential. It doesn't give you a textbook to read. It gives you the direct, visceral experience of your own creations. When you act from a place of fear, you create circumstances that feel fearful and constricted. You feel the consequence, the feeling, the pain, the constrictionist, the teacher's voice. It is not shouting, "You are bad." It is whispering, "Notice, when you act from this state, this is the result. This is how it feels. This is its nature." Perhaps you might want to choose a different state next time. Imagine you are learning to play a beautiful, complex instrument, like a cello. In the beginning, when you draw the bow across the strings, the sound you produce is awful. It is screechy, dissonant, and painful to the ear. Is the cello punishing you for your lack of skill, number? The cello is a perfect law unto itself. It is giving you precise, flawless, instantaneous feedback on your technique. The ugly sound is not a judgment on your worth as a person. It is simply information. It is the cello teaching you. Adjust the pressure of the bow. Shift the position of your finger. Hold the instrument with more relaxation. Your life is this cello. Your karma is the sound it produces. The painful, dissonant experiences are not punishments. They are the sour notes, the feedback that is guiding you, showing you how to adjust your inner posture, your thoughts, your beliefs, your state of being so that you can begin to create a more harmonious, beautiful, and resonant sound. So, if karma is a cycle of cause and effect, how do we ever break free? If our past actions have created our present, are we not doomed to repeat the cycle forever? The escape hatch, the point of liberation, is always in the present moment. Your past actions of body, speech, and mind have created the conditions you are experiencing right now. That part is set. The seeds have been planted, and some of the plants have matured. You cannot, in this moment, change that. This is where acceptance and surrender are key. Fighting with your present reality is like arguing with the plant that has already grown. However, your response to your present reality, in this very moment, is the new seed you are planting, and this will create your future. This is your absolute point of power. Let's say, because of past karmic seeds, you encounter a person who is angry and critical toward you. This is the karmic effect ripening. The habitual, unconscious reaction is to become defensive and angry in return. In doing so, you have taken the thorny fruit of their anger, eaten it, and planted its seeds right back in your own garden. You have perpetuated the cycle. You have created new karma of conflict that will have to ripen in your future. But the conscious response is different. You feel the anger and criticism from the other person. You feel the sour note. But you pause. You take a breath. You anchor yourself in the sky of your awareness. You see the storm of their anger, but you do not become the storm. You receive the effect, but you consciously choose not to create a new negative cause. You respond with presence, with non-reaction, perhaps even with a quiet, inner compassion for the suffering that is causing them to act this way. In that moment of conscious, non-reactive presence, you have broken the chain of karma. You have allowed the karmic wave to crash on the shore of your awareness and dissolve without creating a new wave. You have metabolized the karma. You have cleared the debt. This is the practice of freedom. When you see karma not as a punitive judge, but as a wise and compassionate teacher, everything changes. You are liberated from the fear and guilt that have haunted humanity for ages. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" And you start asking, with genuine curiosity and courage, "What is this experience trying to teach me?" You begin to see your challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities. You see your life not as a sentence to be endured, but as a curriculum of liberation perfectly designed for you. With this understanding, you can finally face the most persistent and painful illusion of all. The belief that there is something fundamentally wrong with you that needs to be fixed. Having journeyed this far, you have begun to see the universe in a new light. You have seen that it is not a judge, but a mirror. You have seen that its feedback, which we call karma, is not a punishment, but a teacher. And now, this compassionate teacher brings you to the threshold of its most profound and liberating lesson. This lesson is designed to dismantle the very foundation of your suffering, the single, most persistent and painful lie you have ever been told. It is the lie that whispers to you in your darkest moments, the lie that has driven your every striving and your every fear. It is the illusion that there is something fundamentally wrong with you, and that you need to be fixed. This feeling of being broken is the primal wound of the separate self. It is the source code of the ego. It began in your earliest moments of consciousness, when you first experienced a world outside of yourself that did not perfectly mirror your needs. A moment of disapproval, a cry that went unanswered, a condition placed upon love in these moments. A devastating conclusion was born within your young mind. If I am not getting the love and safety I need, there must be something wrong with me. This belief, this seed of unworthiness, became the invisible center of your universe, and you have spent the rest of your life trying to compensate for it. The entire frantic project of your personality has been an attempt to fix this supposed flaw. The great noise of your mind is the sound of you endlessly analyzing your brokenness. The prison of the known is the cell you built to protect your fragile, damaged self. The armor you wear is to hide your shame from the world. You became a high achiever to prove you were not a failure. You became a people pleaser to earn the love you felt you did not deserve. You became a perfectionist to try and sand down your jagged, unacceptable edges. You have been running from this feeling of inadequacy your entire life, and the exhaustion you feel is the result of this endless, internal marathon. Even the modern world of self-help and spirituality, for all its good intentions, can inadvertently become a golden cage that reinforces this illusion. It can present you with an endless buffet of tools, therapies, and techniques to improve yourself, to heal your past, to clear your blockages, to raise your vibration. But underlying all of this is the subtle, toxic premise that you are a problem to be solved. You become a professional patient of your own life, a perpetual project that is never complete. You heal one trauma only to find another. You overcome one flaw only to discover three more. You are always working on yourself, forever striving to become a better, shinier, more acceptable version of you. It is a hamster wheel of self-improvement that leads only to more exhaustion because its premise is flawed. You can never successfully fix something that was never broken in the first place. So let me speak this truth to you as clearly as I can, and I invite you to let it land in the deepest part of your being. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You were never broken. Your essence, the truth of who you are beneath the stories and the conditioning, is, and has always been, completely whole, completely perfect, and unconditionally worthy of love. Imagine your true self is a flawless, brilliant diamond forged in the heart of a star. It is indestructible. Its nature is to radiate pure light. It is infinitely precious. Now, imagine that throughout your life, this perfect diamond has become caked in layers of thick, dark mud. The mud is your conditioning. It is the painful memories, the negative beliefs, the story of your unworthiness, the persona you created to survive. This mud is the ego. Over time, you have become so identified with the mud, you have forgotten you are the diamond. You believe the mud is who you are, and so you spend your life trying to improve the mud. You try to shape it into a more pleasing form. You try to paint it a nicer color. You try to become a more well-adjusted, more successful, more spiritual lump of mud. But you are not the mud. You are the diamond. The spiritual journey is not about fixing the mud. It is the process of gently and patiently washing the mud away. Every time you see a conditioned belief for what it is, you wash away a layer of mud. Every time you allow a painful emotion to pass through you without identifying with it, you wash away a layer of mud. Every time you choose compassion for yourself over self-judgment, you wash away a layer of mud. And as the mud thins, the inherent, brilliant light of the diamond begins to shine through. You do not have to create the light. You do not have to improve the diamond. You only have to remove that which is obscuring it. Or think of it this way. You are a solid gold statue of exquisite beauty, a masterpiece of divine art. But long ago, to protect you or to hide you, someone painted over your entire surface with thick coats of gray, leaden paint designed to look like rusted iron. You grew up believing you were a rusty, ugly iron statue of little value. So you spend your life trying to fix the rust. You try to polish the iron. You try to weld on new pieces to cover the cracks. But the work of awakening is to realize you are not iron at all. It is to take the gentle solvent of loving awareness and begin to patiently dissolve the paint. It is not an act of violence or of fixing. It is an act of revelation. As the layers of the false self, the paint begin to melt away, the untarnished, unwavering, breathtaking gold that you have always been is revealed. It was never damaged. It was never less than. It was only ever hidden. How then do we practice this revelation? We do it through the radical act of unconditional self-acceptance. This is the water, the solvent that washes the mud and dissolves the paint. It means you stop fighting with yourself. You lay down your arms. You end the inner civil war. It means you allow everything to be as it is, without needing it to be different. You feel a wave of anxiety. The old way is to see it as evidence of your brokenness and immediately try to fix it, to get rid of it. The new way is to say, welcome, anxiety is here. I allow this energy to be present in my body without judgment. You feel a flash of irrational anger. You do not shame yourself. You simply notice, anger is present. I am the space for this anger. You become aware of a pattern you judge as a deep character flaw. You do not double down on your self-criticism. You soften. You look upon it with the compassion of a loving parent, and you say, I see this part of me. I accept this part of me too. This is not resignation. This is not saying I am an anxious person and will always be this way. That is just another label, another layer of mud. It is the recognition that, right now, the energy of anxiety is moving through you, and you are the spacious, loving awareness that can hold it without being consumed by it. Herein lies the greatest paradox of existence. The moment you completely and lovingly accept a part of yourself that you have been trying to fix your entire life, it begins to lose its power. The energy you were wasting on resistance, judgment, and fixing is liberated. The knot begins to untie itself. The alchemy is in the acceptance. So I say to you again, let this sink past your mind and into your bones. You are not a project to be completed. You are a presence to be discovered. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a mystery to be lived. The parts of you that you have deemed unworthy, your flaws and your wounds, are not mistakes in your design. They are the cracks through which the light of your own divinity can finally enter. They are the portals to your deepest compassion and strength. When you truly understand, on a cellular level, that you were never broken, the entire orientation of your life shifts. The frantic, anxious striving to become someone else ceases. It is replaced by a curious, joyful, and peaceful process of discovering who you already are. And as you stop seeing yourself as a problem to be fixed, you can finally stop seeing the world as a threat to be managed. You can begin to walk upon the earth not as a wounded soldier on a battlefield, but as a beloved child in a sacred garden. When the illusion of your own brokenness begins to dissolve, a quiet and miraculous transformation occurs. The world, which you had perceived through the filter of that illusion, begins to transform as well. When you no longer see yourself as a problem to be solved, you stop seeing life as a battle to be won. When you touch the inherent wholeness within you, you begin to perceive the inherent wholeness in everything. The inner shift projects itself outward, and you are invited to embark upon a new way of living, walking the earth as sacred ground. For most of your life, you have lived in a state of deep, unconscious dualism. You have separated the world into two distinct categories: the sacred and the profane. The sacred was the special place, the designated time. It was the church, the temple, the ashram. It was the hour you set aside for meditation, the weekend spiritual retreat, the reading of a holy book. This was the spiritual part of your life. Everything else, washing the dishes, driving in traffic, answering emails, paying the bills, grocery shopping, was the profane, the mundane. The ordinary stuff you just had to get through in order to get back to the moments of sacredness. This division has created a deep fracture in your existence. It has made your spiritual life a small, compartmentalized hobby, and the vast majority of your time on earth a meaningless chore. It is a recipe for perpetual dissatisfaction. This separation between the sacred and the profane is an illusion. It is the external reflection of the illusion that you are separate from your own divinity. The truth is far more radical and beautiful. There is no separation. The kitchen sink can be as holy as any altar in Tibet. The office cubicle can be as potent a space for awakening as any cave in the Himalayas. The only thing that determines whether a moment is sacred or profane is the quality of your attention. The temple is not a building made of stone and wood. It is a space you create with your own presence. You can stand in the most magnificent cathedral in the world, lost in anxious thoughts about the future. And for you, in that moment, it is not a sacred space. It is just a building. Conversely, you can stand before your kitchen sink, washing a single teacup. And if you are fully present for that act, feeling the warmth of the water on your hands, seeing the iridescent beauty of a soap bubble, hearing the gentle clink of porcelain in that moment, you are standing on the holiest ground. You are engaged in a sacred ritual. You are a high priest of the present moment. This is the invitation to dissolve the boundary, to understand that the ground beneath your feet, right now, wherever you are, is sacred ground. The air you are breathing is sacred air. The body you inhabit is a sacred vessel. There is nowhere to run to, for divinity is not in a particular place. It is in a particular way of being, and that way of being is available to you in every single ordinary moment of your life. This is the ritual of the ordinary. It is the practice of infusing the mundane with the miraculous power of your full attention. Let us take the washing of a bowl. The profane mind says, "I have to wash this dirty bowl. It's a chore. I need to get it done quickly so I can move on to something more important." The sacred mind approaches the bowl with reverence. It feels the weight and coolness of the ceramic. It gives thanks for the food the bowl held, which has now become part of its own body. As the warm water flows over its hands, it feels the simple miracle of clean, running water, a luxury unknown to billions. It watches the soap transform into a lather of bubbles, each one a tiny, shimmering universe. It cleans the bowl not with resentment, but with care. In these few moments, the act of washing a bowl has become a profound meditation on gratitude, interconnectedness, and the beauty of simple things. The bowl is washed, but more importantly, the soul is cleansed. Consider the act of drinking a cup of coffee or tea. The profane mind uses it as a mere delivery system for caffeine, gulping it down while scrolling through the news, the taste barely registered. The sacred mind turns it into a ceremony. You feel the comforting warmth of the mug in your hands. You inhale its rich aroma, a gift from the earth. You watch the steam rise and dance in the air. You take the first sip, and for that 1 second, your entire universe is the complex, wonderful taste on your tongue. For 2 minutes, you are fully present with this simple gift. This is not a waste of time. This is time made holy. Every walk can become a pilgrimage. Instead of rushing from your car to your office, lost in the noise of your thoughts, you can choose to make it a sacred practice. With each step, you can feel the sensation of your foot making contact with the ground. You can feel the solid, unwavering support of the earth beneath you, the planet that holds and sustains you. You can notice the way the light filters through the leaves of a city tree. Each step becomes a quiet prayer of connection. The sidewalk becomes your altar. Perhaps the most sacred ritual of all is to truly listen to another human being. The profane mind waits impatiently for its turn to speak, formulating its own story while the other person is talking. The sacred mind offers the holiest of gifts, the spacious sanctuary of its full, undivided attention. It listens not just to the words, but to the emotions behind the words. It listens to the silences. It makes the other person feel seen, heard, and valued. In that exchange, you are not just two egos interacting. You are two divine beings holding a sacred space for each other. To live this way requires a gentle shift in intention. The intention is not to do these ordinary things perfectly or to become some kind of mindfulness expert. This is just another trap of the ego. The intention is simply to be here for your life, to show up for it, to infuse your actions, however small, with the quiet dignity of your presence. When you do this, your entire life becomes your spiritual practice. You no longer need to carve out special time to connect with the sacred, because the sacred is everywhere, in everything, waiting for you to notice. This way of living is the end of frantic seeking. You stop searching for God, for enlightenment, for peak experiences out there on a mountaintop, in a foreign country, with a famous guru. The desperate search ends, because you realize that the thing you were looking for was never hiding from you. It was simply woven into the fabric of the ordinary life you were trying to escape. Divinity was in the taste of an apple, in the rhythm of your breathing, in the face of the person across from you. You were not separate from it. You were just not present for it. To walk the earth as sacred ground is to re-enchant your own life. It is to see the world not as a collection of dead objects, but as a living, breathing, intelligent presence. It is to recognize your own inherent wholeness, and to see that wholeness reflected back to you in every mundane corner of your existence. This way of being does not demand grand gestures. It asks only for your presence. But to offer your presence so completely, to trust in the sacredness of each moment as it unfolds, requires you to let go of your fierce grip on control. It requires you to learn the profound and misunderstood power that lies not in fighting the river of life, but in surrendering to its current. To walk the earth as sacred ground is to accept each moment, each step, as a gift. It is to meet reality as it is, without the filter of your preference. This profound acceptance is the doorway to an even deeper state of being, a state that the ego fears above all others, yet which holds the key to effortless power and profound peace. This is the state of surrender. The word itself may trigger a feeling of resistance in you. In our culture, to surrender is to lose. It means defeat, weakness, giving up, waving the white flag. The ego, your inner warrior, has been trained its entire life to fight, to resist, to control, to never give an inch. It believes that the moment it stops fighting, it will be annihilated. And so it wages a constant, exhausting war against the flow of life, a war it can never win. Today, we redefine this word. We reclaim it. For true surrender is not the weakling's retreat, it is the master's ultimate strength. True surrender is not passivity. It is not giving up on your dreams or resigning yourself to a miserable fate. It has nothing to do with being a doormat. True surrender is the conscious, intelligent, and courageous cessation of your inner war against what is. It is the moment you realize the sheer insanity of arguing with reality. The rain is falling. The past happened exactly as it did. The feeling is present in your body. These things are facts. To spend your life force wishing the rain wasn't falling, wishing the past had been different, wishing you didn't feel what you feel, this is the definition of madness. It is a futile struggle that drains your energy and creates all of your suffering. Surrender is the simple, sane act of dropping the rope in this tug-of-war with reality. You are not surrendering to an enemy. You are surrendering from an unwinnable conflict. Imagine a person who has fallen into deep water and cannot swim. Their first instinct is panic. They flail their arms, kick their legs wildly, and try with all their might to climb on top of the water, to fight it, to conquer it. Their frantic, desperate struggle churns the water into a chaos. And it is this very struggle, this fierce resistance to the nature of water, that exhausts them and pulls them under. This is the ego, fighting the flow of life. Now, imagine that person, at the point of utter exhaustion, finally gives up the fight. They stop flailing. They let go. They relax their body, lean their head back, and allow the water to hold them. And in that moment of surrender, a miracle happens. They float. The very element they believed was their enemy becomes their support. The water was never trying to drown them. Their own resistance was the cause of their suffering. Life is this water. It is not against you. When you fight it, you sink. When you relax into it, when you trust it, it holds you and carries you. Surrender is the act of leaning back into the arms of reality and trusting that you will be held. Think of a master sailor at the helm of a ship. An unskilled sailor, whose mind is rigid, sees a powerful headwind as an obstacle, an enemy. He might try to row directly into it, exhausting himself and making no progress, all the while cursing the wind. The master sailor, who understands surrender, does not see the wind as an enemy. He sees it as a powerful, neutral force. He does not fight it. He respects it. He adjusts his sails. He changes his course, tacking and turning, using the very power of the wind he is surrendering to propel his ship toward his destination. His path may not be a straight line, but it is a path of wisdom and grace. He arrives at his harbor not exhausted and defeated, but energized and exhilarated, having been in partnership with the elements. This is true surrender. It is not about abandoning your destination, your desire for a more joyful, peaceful, and abundant life. It is about releasing your rigid, fearful attachment to the one straight-line path you believe you must take to get there. It is about having the flexibility and wisdom to adjust your sails, to work with the winds and currents of your life as they are, rather than against them. This is the essence of effortless action. It is action that arises from a place of alignment, not from a place of brute force and resistance. So how do we practice this? We begin by surrendering to the reality of the present moment. Whatever situation you are, facing a challenge at work, a difficulty in a relationship, a health concern, the first step is always an inner yes. This is not a yes of approval. You do not have to like the situation. It is a yes of acknowledgement. Yes, this is what is happening right now. This simple, internal acknowledgement instantly stops the massive energy drain of denial, complaint, and resistance. It brings you out of the argumentative state of the ego and into the calm, clear presence of the observer. From this place of inner acceptance, wise and effective action can arise. Action born from a state of no to reality is frantic, fear-based, and usually makes things worse. Action born from a state of yes is calm, clear, powerful, and intelligent. You practice by surrendering to the weather of your emotions. When sadness comes, you do not fight it or try to think positive. You allow it. You say an inner yes to the presence of sadness. You create a space for it. You surrender to its texture and its weight, trusting that it is a cleansing rain that will pass. You surrender your need to be happy all the time. And you practice by surrendering the how. Once you have clarified your intention, once you have tuned your being to the resonance of what you wish to create, your final and most powerful act is to surrender the outcome. You release your need to control how and when it will manifest. The ego wants a detailed plan. The soul thrives on mystery. Your job is to be the sailor who sets the sails. The universe's job is to be the wind. You must trust the wind. This surrender is an act of faith in the greater intelligence of life, and it is this very act of letting go that creates the space for true magic and synchronicity to enter your life. In the ancient wisdom of the Tao, water is the ultimate symbol of this power. Water is the softest, most yielding thing in the world. It takes the shape of whatever contains it. It never argues, never resists. If it meets a stone, it simply flows around it. Yet, with its gentle, persistent yielding, It can wear away the hardest rock. Its power is in its softness. Its strength is in its surrender. To embody this principle is to become like water. You become flexible, adaptable, resilient. You are no longer the brittle oak tree that shatters in the hurricane, but the supple bamboo that bends with the wind and springs back unharmed. This is the quiet, invincible strength that is born from letting go of the fight. And when you finally stop wasting all your precious life force on this futile, external war with reality, a vast new territory opens up to you. All of that liberated energy can now be turned inward, not to fix or to fight, but to explore the magnificent, undiscovered country that lies within. You are freed to discover the profound and endless richness of your own inner landscape. When you learn the strength in true surrender, when you cease the exhausting war with the river of life, a vast reservoir of energy is liberated within you. For years, this energy was consumed by the friction of resistance, by the tireless efforts of the ego to control, manage, and fight reality. Now, this energy is freed. It is returned to you, and you are faced with a new and wonderful choice: where to direct it. The habit of a lifetime has been to direct it outward, to continue seeking fulfillment, happiness, and richness in the external world. But there is another path, an invitation to turn your gaze around, away from the distant horizon and toward the homeland within. You are invited to stop being a conqueror of the external world and to become a quiet explorer of your own inner landscape. Our entire culture is predicated on the great external search. We are taught from birth that happiness is a product to be acquired, a destination to be reached through outward striving. We are conditioned to believe that richness is measured by the balance in our bank account, the size of our home, the prestige of our job title. We seek love and validation in the eyes of others, collecting likes, compliments, and partners like trophies to prove our worth. We chase excitement in ever more exotic travels, more dazzling entertainment, more intense sensory experiences. This is not to say these things are inherently bad, but to rely on them for your fundamental sense of well-being is like trying to build a house on the surface of a churning ocean. It is an endless and ultimately hollow pursuit. The more you acquire, the more you find you need. The thrill of the new experience fades, leaving behind an ache for the next one. It is a game of diminishing returns that leaves the soul feeling starved, no matter how full the hands are. Imagine your life is an estate. For all of your years, you have been living in a small, meticulously manicured front garden. This garden is your external life, your persona. You have spent all of your time here, obsessing over it. You prune every rosebush of achievement into the perfect shape. You pull every weed of imperfection with frantic anxiety. You are constantly comparing your garden to your neighbors, consumed with worry about what they think. This little patch of land, with its endless, stressful upkeep, is what you have called your life. You believe it is the entirety of your estate. But just behind the small house of your ego, there is a door you have never opened. You have perhaps been afraid to even look at it. This door leads to the rest of your estate. It leads into a vast, ancient, primordial forest. This is your inner landscape. This inner forest is not a dark and dangerous place to be feared. It is a wilderness of profound beauty, wisdom, and peace. It has been waiting for you patiently your entire life. The art of living a truly rich life is to learn to turn away from the anxious toil of the front garden and to find the courage to open that door and begin exploring the magnificent wilderness within. What will you find there? You will not find the loud, glittering prizes of the outer world. The treasures here are of a different and infinitely more valuable nature. At first, as you step into the forest, you will notice the silence. The same silence that the ego once feared as emptiness. But as you attune your senses, you will discover that this silence is not empty at all. It is singing. It is a vibrant, living presence, a deep, resonant hum that is the very sound of your own being. To rest in this silence is to experience a peace more profound and nourishing than any external praise or accomplishment. As you walk deeper, you may stumble upon a hidden spring, a fountain that bubbles up from the deep earth. This is the fountain of your own creativity. In the outer world, you believed you had to hunt for inspiration to consume the ideas of others. Here, you discover that true creativity, novel insights, and elegant solutions to your problems arise effortlessly from this inner source when you are quiet enough to receive them. You do not need to seek inspiration. You need only to get out of its way. In a sun-dappled clearing, you might find the entrance to a deep, cool cave. This is the cave of your intuition, the home of the whispering compass. Here, a deep knowing resides, a wisdom that is not of the logical mind. It is a direct line to the intelligence of the universe. You realize you can find the answers you seek, not by accumulating more information from the outside, but by learning to listen to the profound wisdom that is already encoded in the very cells of your being. And at the very heart of this vast forest, you will find a garden that makes your manicured front lawn look like a barren patch of dust. This is the garden of unconditional love. All your life, you have been seeking trickles of this love from other people, hoping they would give you the validation you craved. Here, you discover the infinite, inexhaustible source of that love within your own heart. It is not dependent on being worthy or on anyone else's approval. It is your very nature. You learn to drink directly from this fountain, and the moment you do, the thirsty, needy seeking from others ends. You stop being a beggar for love, and you become a source of it, overflowing from your own inner fullness. When you discover the treasures of your inner landscape, the entire dynamic of your life shifts. You cease to be a seeker, a term that implies lack and neediness. You are no longer desperately trying to get something from the world: love, happiness, peace, validation. You become an explorer. An explorer is already whole, already self-sufficient. Their joy comes not from arriving at a destination, but from the wonder of the journey itself, the delight of discovering what lies around the next bend in the path of their own consciousness. This does not mean you abandon the external world. It means you can finally engage with it freely. You can return to your front garden and enjoy it for what it is: a place to play, to create, to connect. You can appreciate your achievements without your self-worth being tied to them. You can love others without needing them to complete you. You engage with the world not from a place of hunger, but from a place of fullness. You give from your overflow rather than from your deficit. This is the richest life a human being can live. The greatest adventure is not circumnavigating the globe, but circumnavigating the soul. The greatest wealth is not the fortune you accumulate in the world, but the infinite treasure you uncover in the depths of your own awareness. This inner kingdom is your birthright, and it is waiting. And as you spend more time inhabiting this inner richness, you begin to emanate a different quality of energy. Your very presence becomes a silent broadcast. The peaceful, full, and loving state you have cultivated within begins to send quiet, powerful echoes out into the world, shaping the mirror of reality in a new, more graceful and beautiful way. As you learn to draw your nourishment from the infinite well of your own inner landscape, a fundamental question begins to shift. The anxious, ego-driven question, "What can I get from the world to make me happy?" dissolves. It is replaced by a quieter, more profound inquiry from the soul. What is my purpose here? What am I meant to do with this newfound peace? The ego, ever eager to reclaim its position, will immediately try to answer this question with a grand plan. It will tell you that you must now do something spectacular. Write a best-selling book, start a global movement, heal the world, achieve great recognition for your newfound wisdom. It will try to turn your inner peace into another project, another mountain to climb, another source of striving. Here, we must be very wise and very gentle. We must recognize this impulse for what it is, the old habit of defining our worth through our actions. The truth is far more subtle and infinitely more powerful. Your greatest gift to the world, your most profound purpose, is not in what you do, it is in who you are. It is in the quality of the consciousness that you embody. As you cultivate the richness of your inner world, you begin to send silent, powerful echoes out into the world. Your very presence becomes an agent of transformation. Think of your state of being as a stone dropped into the still, clear pond of the collective consciousness. For most of your life, driven by fear and lack, you have been dropping stones of anxiety into this pond. You may not have realized it, but every time you entered a room consumed by worry, you sent out subtle ripples of unease. Every time you interacted with someone from a place of judgment or insecurity, you sent out ripples of contraction and defensiveness. These echoes were real. They contributed, in a small but tangible way, to the overall field of stress and fear in the world. You were, unconsciously, feeding the very energies you wished to escape. Now, as you learn to rest in the stillness of your being, as you cultivate a state of inner peace and fullness, you begin to drop a different kind of stone into the pond. You drop a stone of peace. The ripples that emanate from you are now ripples of calm. You walk into a tense business meeting, and without saying a word, your non-anxious presence can subtly lower the temperature in the room. You sit with a friend who is in distress, and instead of offering frantic advice, you offer them the spacious, silent gift of your peaceful presence. Your calmness acts as a grounding rod for their chaotic energy. They may not know why, but they feel better around you. They feel safer. You have not done anything. You have simply been something. You have been peace, and that peace has echoed out and touched another. This is your real work. Consider the nature of light and darkness. Imagine a large room shrouded in absolute darkness. The darkness feels solid, oppressive, real. If you enter that room and try to fight the darkness, you will fail. You cannot punch it, or shout at it, or push it out of the room. The very act of fighting it is absurd and exhausting. This is the ego's approach to changing the world. It sees the darkness of ignorance, hatred, and fear, and it tries to fight it head-on, creating more conflict, more noise, and more struggle. The way of the awakened consciousness is entirely different. It does not fight the darkness. It does not even acknowledge it as a solid reality. It simply enters the room as a lit candle. What happens? The moment the lit candle enters, the darkness in its immediate vicinity simply ceases to be. The light does not have to attack the darkness. It does not need a strategy. The light's very presence is the antidote to the dark. It effortlessly, silently, and without a single moment of struggle, transforms the environment by its very nature. Your inner peace is this flame, your love is this flame, your presence, born of your connection to the stillness within, is this flame. Your purpose is not to become a great warrior who fights the world's darkness. Your purpose is to become a living sanctuary of light. It is to tend to your own inner flame so diligently, so lovingly, that it burns brightly and steadily. Then, wherever you go, you carry this light with you. You become a walking, breathing candle. You do not have to preach. You do not have to fix anyone. You simply have to be. And in your being, you offer a silent, powerful alternative to the darkness of fear and separation that governs so much of the world. You become a point of light that gives others permission to find their own. Think of a fragrant flower, like a jasmine or a rose, growing in a garden. The flower does not strain or strive. It does not need to advertise its virtues or write a business plan for how to be a successful flower. Its work is simply to be, fully and completely, what it is. It draws nourishment from the soil and the sun, and in the simple, glorious act of embodying its own nature, it effortlessly produces a beautiful, intoxicating fragrance. This fragrance is its gift to the world. It requires no effort. It is a natural byproduct of its own authentic being. It delights the gardener. It attracts the bee. It perfumes the air, changing its environment in a subtle but profound way, simply by being itself. The richness you cultivate in your inner landscape is your fragrance. When you are rooted in a state of love, you emit the fragrance of love. When you abide in peace, you emit the fragrance of peace. This energy, this aroma of the soul, is your true, unspoken communication with the world. It is what people feel in your presence, long after they have forgotten your words. It is the echo you send into the world. The most potent and practical way you send these echoes is through the power of conscious non-reaction. The world operates on predictable, mechanical echoes. The energy of anger expects to be met with the echo of anger or fear. The energy of judgment expects the echo of defensiveness. This is the karmic cycle of action and reaction that keeps the world suffering in motion. You, in your newfound presence, can become the one who changes the echo. Someone directs a wave of anger toward you. The old you, the armored ego, would have instantly reacted, either by attacking back or by cowering in fear. You would have sent back the expected echo, but the new you, the sky-like awareness, has another option. You can simply be present with the energy. You receive the wave of anger into the vast, open space of your non-judgmental awareness. You do not take it personally. You see it as the weather, the other person's storm. And because you do not react, because you do not contract, you do not create a new wave of anger. You send back an echo of silence, of space, of peace. This is profoundly disarming to the ego of the other person. They have thrown a ball against a wall and are expecting it to bounce back hard. Instead, the ball has been caught in a soft, welcoming net. The energy has nowhere to go. It dissipates. In that moment, you have not only saved yourself from creating new negative karma, you have offered the other person a sacred gift. You have offered them a space free of judgment, a momentary glimpse of another way to be. You have become a conscious endpoint for a lineage of suffering, rather than just another unconscious relay station passing it on. This is how you heal the world, not by changing others, but by refusing to participate in the unconscious dance of reactivity. You heal the world by healing yourself. Your purpose, then, is not some grand external task you must find and accomplish. Your purpose is a state of being you must uncover and inhabit. Your purpose is to be the ripple of peace in the pond. Your purpose is to be the lit candle in the darkened room. Your purpose is to be the fragrant flower in the garden of humanity. Your being is your activism. Your peace is your protest. Your love is your revolution. And this silent, powerful communication, this language of echoes and fragrance, operates on a level that transcends words. It is the native language of the universe itself. It is the language of pure energy. The echoes you send out from the quiet sanctuary of your being are a form of profound communication. They are the silent music that your soul plays, a melody that is felt by the world long before any words are spoken. To bring this unconscious process into the light of your awareness is to learn the native language of the universe itself. It is to learn to speak and to listen to the language of energy. For your entire life, you have been taught that communication is primarily about words. You have focused on learning vocabulary, on crafting articulate sentences, on mastering the art of debate and persuasion. Words are useful tools. They are pointers. They are symbols that allow our minds to connect on a certain level, but they are also profoundly limited. Words are like small, leaky buckets used to carry the ocean of reality. They can only ever hold a tiny fraction of the truth, and much of it spills out in transit. Words can be used to lie, to hide, to manipulate. They are a thin, superficial layer of communication, and to focus solely on them is to miss the vast, rich, powerful river of information that is constantly flowing just beneath the surface. There is a primary language, a universal tongue that is understood by every living thing, from a newborn baby to an ancient tree, from an animal companion to another human soul. This is the language of energy. It is the direct, unmediated broadcast of your inner state, your resonance. It is the vibe you feel from a person or a place. It is the information your intuition receives, the data your body collects, that has nothing to do with logic or spoken statements. To become fluent in this language is to move from a two-dimensional black and white reality into a full-color, holographic, multi-sensory experience of life. Think of it this way. Every person you meet is playing a silent song. This song is their energy field, their resonance. It is composed of the notes of their dominant emotions, the harmony of their core beliefs, and the rhythm of their intentions. A person who lives in a state of joy is playing a bright, uplifting melody in a major key. You can feel it. It makes you want to dance. A person who is consumed by grief is playing a slow, heavy, minor key dirge. You feel its weight in their presence. A person with a hidden agenda or an inner conflict might be singing beautiful lyrics, saying all the right words, but the underlying music they are playing is full of dissonant chords and unsettling rhythms. It makes you feel uneasy, even if you can't logically explain why. Learning the language of energy is like developing a perfect ear for this soul music. It is the ability to hear the true song someone is playing, regardless of the words they are using as camouflage. Animals are masters of this. A dog does not understand your words of love, but it feels the loving energy behind them and responds with tail wags and affection. It also feels the nervous energy of a stranger, regardless of their sweet talk, and responds with a wary growl. It is responding to the truth of the music, not the illusion of the lyrics. Your journey is to reclaim this innate, animal-like sensitivity. So how do you learn to listen to this language? You must first understand that you do not listen with your ears. You listen with your entire being. Your primary instrument for reception is your own body. Your body is an incredibly sophisticated barometer, constantly registering the energetic weather patterns around you. You have simply been taught to ignore its readings in favor of the chattering, analytical mind. The practice of listening is the practice of returning your attention to the wisdom of your body. When you meet someone for the first time, or when you walk into a room, get into the habit of asking yourself a simple question. What is happening in my body right now? Drop your awareness out of your head and into your torso. What do you feel in your gut? Is there a sense of relaxation, of openness, of ease? Or is there a subtle tightening, a clenching, a feeling of needing to protect yourself? What do you feel in your chest? Does it feel expansive and light, or does it feel constricted and heavy? After you leave an interaction, how do you feel? Energized and uplifted? Or drained, tired, and a little bit sick? Your body is giving you a constant, flawless stream of data about the energetic reality of your environment. That tightening in your gut is not a random occurrence. It is your body's intelligence system telling you, the energy here is incongruent or unsafe. Proceed with caution. That feeling of being drained after talking to a certain person is your body telling you, this person's energy field is one of lack, and they have been unconsciously feeding on your own. You must learn to honor this information. You must give it more weight than the polite words someone is speaking, or your mind's desire to be nice and agreeable. Your body's felt sense is your truth detector. Trust it. This is one half of the conversation, listening. The other half is speaking. To consciously speak the language of energy is not about trying to send energy to others or manipulate them with your mind. It is about learning to broadcast a clear, coherent, and authentic signal from the core of your own being. The primary tool for this is your intention. Your intention is the carrier wave for your energy. Before you enter a challenging conversation, you can take one quiet moment to set an intention. My intention is to listen with an open heart. My intention is to speak my truth with kindness. My intention is to be a peaceful presence in this room. This simple, silent act gathers your scattered energy and gives it a coherent direction. It is like tuning the radio transmitter before you go on air. You also learn to speak from your center. The anxious, egoic mind speaks from the head and throat. a place of tension. But when you ground your awareness deep in your body, in your heart center, or in your belly, and allow your words and actions to arise from that place of quiet, grounded strength, they carry a completely different resonance. They have weight, they have integrity. They land on the listener not as an assault, but as an offering. People can feel the difference instantly. They feel the truth and stillness behind your words, and they relax. The most powerful form of energetic speech is congruence. This is when your inner state, your emotions, your thoughts, your words, and your body language are all aligned, all singing the same note. There is no dissonance, no static, no contradiction. You are a clear channel. This is the energy of absolute trustworthiness and authenticity. When you are congruent, people feel safe with you. They open up to you. Deceit, on the other hand, is the very definition of incongruence, saying one thing while feeling another. And no matter how skilled the liar, the dissonant, untrustworthy music they are playing is always felt by the sensitive listener. As you become more fluent in this language, a sense of responsibility arises. You are not learning this skill to gain an advantage, to read people's minds for your own benefit, or to project your will onto others. The purpose is to bring more clarity, compassion, and authenticity into your life and the lives of those you touch. When you listen energetically, you can sense the fear behind someone's anger and respond to the fear, not the anger. You can sense the loneliness behind someone's arrogance and respond with a silent wave of compassion. When you speak energetically, you learn that the most powerful communication is often silence, the simple, resonant broadcast of your peaceful presence. You become a healing force in the world, not by what you say, but by the quality of the silence you embody. To master this universal language is to move beyond a reality defined by labels and concepts, and into one that is known through direct feeling and intuitive perception. It is the path to true intimacy with life, with others, and with yourself. But to achieve the ultimate fluency, to speak this language with the clarity and power of the universe itself, one final, courageous step is required. You must be willing to let go of the very idea of a separate speaker. You must have the courage to dissolve the fixed identity of I who is trying to listen and speak. You must be willing to become a pure, open channel, an empty vessel, so that the intelligence of life itself can communicate through you. This is when the courage to be nothing has done its perfect work, when the scaffolding of the false self has been dismantled and allowed to fall away. You are not left in a cold, dark, empty void. The nothingness the ego feared is revealed to be not an absence, but a presence. In the silent, empty space that you have become, a new perception dawns. It is the perception of a gentle, self-luminous, and all-pervading light. This is not a light that can be seen with the physical eyes. It is a light that is known by the heart. It is the very substance of awareness itself. This is the final homecoming. This is the remembrance of the light that you were, before the world gave you a name. Before you had a body, before you had a story, before there was a you to be born and a you to one day die, what were you? This is the ultimate question of all spiritual inquiry. You were not a thing. You were not a concept. You were a silent, formless, peaceful awareness. You were a point of pure, potential light, resting in the infinite mind of God, of the universe, of existence itself. This light is your original nature. It is your essence. The entire human journey, with all its pain and all its glory, is a journey designed to help you remember this. Not to become the light, but to realize you have never been anything else. To grasp this, we must use a metaphor. Think of your body, your personality, your mind, your name, your history, everything that you consider to be you as a light bulb. This light bulb has a specific form. It has a certain wattage, perhaps it is a bright bulb or a dimmer one. It has a specific color of glass. It has a finite lifespan. It was manufactured at a certain time, and one day its filament will break and the bulb will die. For your entire life, You have been completely identified with this light bulb. You have polished its glass, trying to make it more attractive. You have worried about its wattage, comparing your brightness to other bulbs. You have been terrified of its fragility, knowing that one day it will inevitably burn out. You have believed, without question, that you are the light bulb. But you are not the light bulb. You are the electricity that illuminates it. Consider the nature of electricity. It is formless, it is invisible, it is timeless, it is pure, raw energy. It is the current that flows through the bulb, causing it to shine and express its particular qualities. The electricity itself is not the light, it is the source of the light. It is not limited to the bulb. The same current that lights your specific bulb also lights every other bulb in the house, in the city, in the world. When your particular light bulb finally burns out, is the electricity harmed? Does it die? Number. It is utterly unaffected. It simply ceases to express itself through that one temporary form. It withdraws its current, and the light bulb goes dark. The electricity itself remains, forever present, forever available, ready to illuminate new forms. This electricity is your true nature. It is pure, formless, eternal consciousness. You are not the human persona. You are the divine awareness that is having the experience of being a human persona. You are the timeless current animating the temporary bulb of your body and mind. To truly, deeply realize this is to be liberated from the most fundamental human fear, the fear of death. How can you fear the death of the light bulb when you know yourself to be the electricity? The form will change. The form will pass away. That is its nature. But you, the formless consciousness, the pure light, are eternal. You were never born, and you will never die. You are simply changing the form through which you express and experience yourself. Let us look at this through another lens. Your true nature, this pure awareness, is like the sun. The sun is a vast, self-luminous star, constantly radiating light, warmth, and life. It is always present, always whole, always shining in the center of its solar system. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your life circumstances, these are the clouds. On some days, the clouds are thin and wispy, and the light of the sun shines through brilliantly. These are what you call good days. On other days, the clouds are thick, dark, and heavy. They cover the entire sky, and from your perspective on the ground, the sun has vanished. It seems that the gray, oppressive darkness is the only reality. These are your bad days, your times of sorrow, fear, and despair. But where has the sun gone? Has it ceased to exist? Has its light been extinguished by the clouds? Of course not. The sun is shining as brilliantly as ever, just on the other side of the cloud layer. The clouds are a temporary, localized atmospheric phenomenon. They can obscure the sun, but they can never, ever harm or diminish it. The sun, in its majesty, allows the clouds to be. It provides the light and the space in which they can form, drift, and dissolve. Your spiritual practice is not an attempt to create a sun. It is the process of disidentifying with the clouds and remembering that you are the sun. It is the understanding that your thoughts and feelings, no matter how intense or painful, are just temporary weather patterns passing through the vast, radiant sky of your own consciousness. You are not the anxiety. You are the silent, shining awareness that is conscious of the anxiety. You are not the sadness. You are the eternal light that is witnessing the temporary cloud of sadness. When you know yourself as the sun, you are no longer afraid of the weather. What are the qualities of this original light, this pure consciousness that you are? Words can only point, for it is beyond all concepts, but we can try. It is silent, not the mere absence of noise, but the deep, pregnant silence that is the womb of all creation, the source from which all sounds arise. It is aware. Its very nature is to know, to perceive. It is the self-seeing eye of the universe, the intelligence that is aware of this experience right now. It is peaceful. It is the unshakable, profound peace that lies beneath all turmoil, like the stillness of the deep ocean beneath the storm-tossed waves. It is the peace of the movie screen that is never disturbed by the chaos of the film. And it is loving. This is not the conditional, sentimental love of one ego for another. It is the unconditional, radical acceptance of what is. It is the love that the sky has for the clouds, the love that the ocean has for its waves. It is the love of the screen for the movie, allowing every scene, every character to be exactly as they are, without judgment. It is the love that holds the entirety of creation in a tender, non-interfering embrace. This silent, aware, peaceful, loving presence is your true nature. It is the light you were before a name. When you begin to live from this recognition, everything changes, yet nothing changes. The movie of your life continues. The weather still comes and goes, but your relationship to it is revolutionized. You stop taking your thoughts so seriously. They are just clouds passing through your sky. You stop fearing the death of the light bulb because you know yourself as the eternal current. You begin to see other people, not as their personalities, not as their armor, but as other light bulbs through which the very same light of consciousness is shining. You see the same light in your enemy as you do in your lover. This is the dawn of true compassion. Your life is no longer a desperate struggle for survival, driven by fear and lack. It becomes a work of art, a dance, a joyful expression of the divine light flowing through your unique human form. Your actions are no longer driven by fear and lack, but emanate from a place of peace and wholeness. Your life becomes art, an expression of the divine consciousness flowing through you. You have found what you were always seeking, and you have found it in the one place you never thought to look, in the simple, silent, luminous presence of your own being. You are not a human being who is on a journey to find a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being, a point of pure, eternal light that is having a temporary, precious human experience. The entire journey of life, all the pain and all the joy, has been nothing but an elaborate, compassionate, and perfectly designed conspiracy to help you remember this one, simple, liberating truth. We have walked a long and winding path together through the inner landscape. We have stood in the cacophony of the great noise and found the silence behind it. We have felt the cold, invisible bars of the prison of the known and tasted the terrifying freedom beyond its walls. We have unbuckled the heavy armor of the ego, piece by painful piece. We have learned to trust the whispering compass of our intuition and to drink from the deep well of stillness. We have practiced the sacred art of unbecoming, realizing we are not the storm-tossed weather, but the vast and peaceful sky. We have anchored ourselves in the reality of the breath, learning that the universe is a flawless mirror, that karma is a patient teacher, and that we are not broken projects in need of repair, but perfect diamonds temporarily covered in mud. We have learned to walk the earth as a temple, to find strength in surrender, and to speak the silent, universal language of energy. We have even found the courage to be nothing, only to discover that in that emptiness, we find the indestructible light of our own true nature. Each of these steps was a finger pointing at the moon. Each was a guidepost, a raft to cross a river, a key to unlock a door. But they were not the destination itself. Now, we must let go of the pointers and look directly at the moon. We must come to the one, simple, singular truth to which all of these lessons have been leading. For the entire spiritual search, the very act of seeking enlightenment, peace, or God is the final and most subtle barrier to its realization. The search itself presupposes a separation, that there is a you who is seeking and a peace or a God that is separate from you, which must be found. The one truth that sets you free is the truth that dissolves this separation forever. To understand this, imagine a single beautiful wave on the surface of a vast ocean. From the moment of its formation, this wave has a sense of itself as a unique and separate entity. It has a specific height, a particular shape, a crest of white foam that is all its own. It looks around and sees billions of other waves, all separate, all unique. It feels small, temporary, and vulnerable. It knows that its life is fleeting, that it will inevitably crash upon the shore and cease to exist. This knowledge fills the wave with a deep and constant anxiety. One day, the wave hears a rumor, a legend whispered on the wind, of a vast, eternal, and peaceful reality called the ocean. The stories say that the ocean is the source of all waves, that it is never born and never dies, and that to merge with it is to find ultimate peace. A great longing is born in the heart of the wave. Its life is given a new and profound purpose, to find the ocean. This becomes its spiritual quest. And so, the wave begins its search. At first, it believes it must become a better wave. It tries to be taller, more powerful, more perfectly formed than the other waves, believing that worthiness will lead it to the ocean. This is the path of self-improvement, of building the ego. Then, realizing this only creates more struggle, it tries a different path. It learns to surrender to the great currents that move beneath it, the deep swells of the sea. This is like learning to trust the whispering compass and the law of surrender. The wave learns to observe the weather, the sun, the wind, the rain, without believing that it is the weather. It understands that it is a part of a larger system, that its existence is interconnected with everything around it. It may even have moments of profound peace, moments of stillness, where it feels a deep, resonant connection to the vastness beneath it. And it thinks, I am getting closer to the ocean. But throughout this entire noble, difficult, and sincere quest, a fundamental error remains. The wave is still a wave, looking for the ocean. It is a seeker, separate from the sought. It looks down into the depths and says, the ocean is down there. It looks out to the horizon and says, the ocean is out there. Its entire reality is based on the premise, I am a wave, and I must find the ocean. This seeking, this very sense of being a separate seeker, is the final veil that prevents it from seeing the truth. Then, one day, after an eternity of striving and searching, the wave becomes exhausted. It gives up. It completely surrenders. It lets go of the entire project of trying to find the ocean. In that moment of absolute thought-free stillness, it does something it has never done before. Instead of looking down or out, it looks in. It examines its own nature. It asks, what am I, really? What is the very substance of my being? And in that instant, a revelation occurs that shatters its entire perception of reality. The wave realizes it is not on the ocean. It is the ocean. It is not made of some special wave stuff that is different from ocean stuff. Its entire being, every drop of it, is water. It is, and has always been, a perfect and complete expression of the very ocean it was seeking. The seeker was the sought. The quest was a journey of a thing looking for itself. The only thing that prevented the wave from realizing it was, the ocean, was the very idea that it was a separate wave who needed to search. The fear of its own death crashing on the shore dissolves in a flash of laughter. How can it die by crashing on the shore? The form of the wave will disappear, yes, but the water, its true substance, is simply returning to itself. It is going home to a place it never left. The journey was an illusion. The separation was a dream. This is the one truth that sets you free. You, the person you take yourself to be with your name, your history, your personality, you are the wave. And you have been on a noble quest, seeking connection, peace, love, wholeness, or God. You have been looking for it out there, in relationships, in success, in spiritual experiences. You have been looking for it in there, deep within your meditative states. But you have always been a you looking for an it. The final liberation is the realization that there is no it to be found. You are not a human being searching for a spiritual reality. You are the spiritual reality that is temporarily manifesting as a human being. You are not a person who needs to find peace. You are peace itself, which has taken on the experience of being a person who has forgotten its own nature. You are not a human searching for love. You are love itself, embodied for a short time in human form. You are not a soul trying to find God. You are the God consciousness that is dreaming, the dream of being a soul who is searching. The thing you have been looking for is the very thing that is looking. Let this sink into you. This is not a clever philosophical idea to be understood by the mind. It is a truth to be realized in the very core of your being. All the practices we have discussed, the meditation, the surrender, the self-inquiry, their only purpose was to quiet the frantic activity of the wave long enough for it to recognize that it is water. The goal was never to become a better wave. The goal was to realize your own oceanness. When this shift happens, the desperate, anxious energy of seeking relaxes. The great spiritual project is over. There is nothing left to attain. There is nowhere else to go. You are already home. You have always been home. You just didn't realize it. You can now live your life as the wave, enjoying the ride, the rise and the fall, the sunshine and the spray. But you are no longer terrified of its ending. Your true identity is secure in the vast, deep, eternal peace of the ocean. You act in the world not to get peace, but from a place of peace. You love not to receive love, but as an expression of the love that you are. This is it. This is the single, simple truth that unties every knot. You are not the seeker. You are the sought. You are not the pilgrim. You are the shrine. You are not the one asking the question. You are the silent, loving awareness in which the question appears. You are the one truth that sets you free. And so, our journey of words comes to a gentle close. The path we have walked together was never meant to lead you to a new destination, but to guide you back to the place you never left. It was a journey of subtraction, not addition. A journey of remembering, not learning. A journey home. Imagine your entire being as a single great bell, hanging silently in the center of a timeless temple. For years, you believed your job was to be the frantic bell ringer. You exhausted yourself, pulling on the ropes of effort and control, trying to force the bell to ring. You spent your days polishing its outer surface, decorating it with achievements and identities, desperately hoping it would produce a sound worthy of being heard. You worried constantly about the quality of its tone, comparing it to all the other bells, always feeling it was not quite right. This was the life of seeking, the life of becoming. But now, you have become still. You have let go of the ropes, and in the silence, you have realized the truth. You are not the bell ringer. You are the bell. Your purpose was never to make a sound. Your purpose was simply to be. And the sound you were so desperately trying to create is a natural, effortless resonance of your own authentic being. When you simply hang in the stillness of the present moment, allowing yourself to be exactly as you are, your true note rings out clear, pure, and perfect. The universe hears it. It is the echo of your own peace. Carry this feeling with you. There are no complex instructions to remember, no intricate philosophies to master. There is only the one truth that has been waiting for you beneath the noise of your life. Let these words be a final, gentle reminder, a quiet mantra for your heart. I am not the seeker. I am the stillness the seeker was searching for. I am not the story. I am the silent space that holds the story. I am not the wave. I am the ocean. I am home. Rest here. There is nothing more to do.